Let the truth be seen far and wide, that there is a leader inside. There's a leader inside each and every single one of us. That's more or less what I'm trying to say. Aloha and welcome, shifters, light guardians, dreamers within this beautiful holographic matrix. My name is Brendon, aka Mystic Spider-Man, Skull Babylon, welcoming you to another consciousness expanding, inspiring, inspirational, and educational team podcast that we do here through Paradigm Shift Central. This is our Synergy Circle team podcast, and today's topic is about spiritual wisdom of conscious leadership. So as per usual, I am joined by some fellow amazing leading members here within our community, fellow conscious creators of all sorts. So fellow conscious creators, with this being the start of the broadcast, let's just take a moment here to be able to gently unmute our microphones and make some noise and say hello to all the amazing, beautiful conscious creators and leaders out there. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. Make some noise. Ow, ow, ow. Beautiful. Gets better every time. Awesome. Thank you again, everyone, so much for joining in as we get ready to be able to kick things off here for another one of our weekly podcasts. This is a chance for us to be able to come together as a team of shifters, people who are actively helping assist with the shift in consciousness through acts of creativity, compassion, and personal development. Doing these podcasts is an incredibly important and celebrated thing here within our community, where we get to be able to come together, charge up our spiritual batteries, share some heart wisdom, practice listening, practice communicating, and really choose what direction we are creating for the story that we are weaving together. And so each and every single time that we do this podcast, we are moving the story forward, moving the story of being able to help activate the leader within inside each and every single one of us, because there is a very, very big thing happening in the world right now, and knowing that within each and every single one of our hearts, there's the opportunity and the potential for us to be able to make a difference in this world. And that is exactly what this project is about, is encouraging people to choose to be the change that they wish to see in this world. So with that said, we're going to get things started within this broadcast by just doing a quick little introduction for those of you who may be new to the project. I'll introduce the people who you're going to get to meet on air, and we're going to have a few other people joining partway through. And then from there, we'll do a quick little meditation, and then we'll get right into tonight's discussion. And just even for the people who are on air with us here tonight, really just kind of framing things up more in kind of a discussion format opposed to a panel format. So just keeping in mind that as we go through with things, other leading members, if you want to be able to reply to what somebody else said, just go ahead and gently raise your hand, and we can just kind of pass the talk and stick around, opposed to having to wait to go through every single person and having to have everybody wait their turn that way. So we'll keep this broadcast tonight under 3 hours. That is the intention. If it's shorter than that, that's totally fine too, but really just being able to show up and crystallize that knowledge. And again, keeping in mind that there's always going to be people tuning into this podcast who may be on many different parts of their spiritual journey, those who may be quite new to their spiritual journey. So let us just be able to practice holding space for each other, and let us practice to just be role models for each other, to practice being leaders for each other, and really being able to explore what it means to be a leader, what it means to be a conscious leader, and helping each of us be able to see a little bit more about how leadership is a natural part of who we are. And there are many different forms of leadership, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go. So just giving a quick introduction to the fellow shifters that we have on here with us tonight, just starting with myself, and then I'll go over to the right from the top of the screen. So again, my name is Brendon, Mystic Spider-Man. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. And then on my right, the next person that we have is my good buddy Joseph Barker. So welcome, Joseph. Thank you so much for being here as well. And Joseph's like, you wanted to say something there, didn't you? You're just like, do I say something? No, it's cool. We'll hear from, I know, right? You'll hear more of Joseph's epic voice in the next few moments. And then we've got David back once again. Thank you, David, for joining in. Welcome, David. And we've got Sheena, one of our newer leading members, joining us here on air for the first time. Welcome, Sheena. And we've also got Zentia back again. Thank you, Zentia. Smiles and happy, what do we say? Pineapples and what's the phrase? What's the hearts, peace, and pineapples? Is it? No. Did I get almost? Okay. All right. Yes. Zentia will bring us up to speed on that one. Pineapple is like pineal glands and stuff. Okay, moving along here, and we've also got Curtis. Thank you, Curtis, the gardener of the galaxy. Thank you, Curtis, for joining in once again. And we've got Tash, one of our newer leading members, joining us on air as well. Welcome, Tash. Thanks for being here. And we've got Sifu joining in from the UK, holding the lightsaber. Welcome, Sifu, for joining us once again. And we've got Abbey as well coming back again. So thank you, Abbey. And I believe Khadaura will be joining us partway through the broadcast. So thank you to Khadaura and any of the other leading members. If you guys are watching this and you feel inspired to join, you're more than welcome to join. You guys know the routine and how it works. And for those of you who may be a little bit new to this community, you're welcome to be able to connect to our Discord server. We have a link in the YouTube info. That's where we coordinate throughout the week. And within this community, if you want to be able to connect a little bit further, a big part of what we do is we collaborate as a team of conscious media creators. So all the people that we're working with here on air who are holding this space, we are actively creating conscious media in a variety of forms. So if you're a conscious media creator and you want to be able to connect further with the team, definitely connect to the Discord server. And then if you want to join on air as a leading member for these podcasts and to be able to connect further through our Discord chat and get access to me as a conscious media creation coach, join our regular collaborative work periods to help you with coaching, clarity, and assistance on your journey as a conscious media creator. You can check out the Patreon to learn more about joining there. And at the $11 a month contribution, you can sign up as a leading member. And again, the contributions there help support not only the entire community, but also the ongoing work that I do for this project to be able to help facilitate it and to be able to help bring everything together and allow more and more of us just to be able to grow and to be supported in that space. So thank you again to the Patreon supporters, and thank you again to everybody for your support in all forms. And again, the Patreon link is in the info below. So if you're thinking about joining in on Patreon, check that out, learn a little bit more about it, and send me a direct message. And at the very least, you're welcome to just join the Discord chat, get a feel for things, and then go from there. So with that said, again, these podcasts we do every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can also find us on Spotify and iTunes at Paradigm Shift Radio. And other than that, all the links for the creators that you'll see on air tonight will be featured in the YouTube info after the initial broadcast. So if you're watching this live, check back in a couple hours or check back tomorrow and you'll see the links there for all the creators. And I encourage you to make sure that you connect to all the creators that are on tonight's broadcast, and even feel free to send them a direct message if there's something that they say that really resonated with you, and reach out to them and express their gratitude. For those of you on the YouTube chat, thank you so much for being here. Drop those 1111s if you guys are excited to be here. If the audio and the video is a little bit out of sync, we'll get that fixed as we go. Hopefully it's okay. But with that said, we're just going to keep things moving right along as we get ready to be able to start off with a little bit of a meditation. And then from there, we are going to be able to get into the discussion about conscious leadership. So if you're new to this community and if it's your first time here, just go ahead and drop a 333 in the YouTube chat. And for everybody who's a regular, please feel free to welcome those of you who are new, and please feel free to take a picture of you watching us, screen share it, tag me on Instagram at Mystic Spider-Man, and let people know that they can tune in. You are part of the team, and you helping share this broadcast, invite more people, is a great way for us to be able to share the wisdom that is being cultivated and explored here tonight as a team. So beautiful, awesome. All right, just double checking if there's anything else I was thinking of. Yeah, all the links there, the item shop, Patreon, Discord channel, social media links, it's all there. And yeah, oh, and I'll just say in advance, we got big broadcast coming up. Next week's going to be on spiritual wisdom of alien disclosure. That's December 17th. So just letting you guys know a bit about that ahead of time to get hyped up. And then also, this is big news, December 21st, we're doing a big community panel. There's going to be that's going to be one of our big ones. And that's going to be December 21st, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's going to be about envisioning New Earth 2021 community panel and global meditation. So just want to be able to mention that right off the top so that you guys can get hyped up about that as well. So beautiful. Awesome. All right. Thank you again, everyone. And that said, let's get ready to be able to start off with a little bit of a meditation. And when we do these meditations, this is going back to the heart and the origin of the project, which, just as a quick version of the story, began 10 years ago. So literally, like, myself and other people, we've been doing this for over 10 years. It started as a little club in my college, and we started having meetings down at a little yoga studio. So in that same intention, we're going to do a little bit of meditation where we just kind of visualize ourselves in the circle, connect to our heart space, drop into that resonance, and then from there we'll move into the discussion. So thank you again, everyone, for being here. And with that said, let's get right into the meditation. So just go ahead and get yourself nice and comfortable, and we'll just guide you through this, and this will just be short and sweet. So beautiful. All right. Thank you again, everyone, for joining in. When you're ready, go ahead and get yourself nice and comfortable. Find a position where you can just allow yourself to gently close your eyes and just begin by connecting with your breath. Soft, gentle inhales and soft, gentle exhales. And even just straighten up your posture. Open up your chest, relax your face. And as you breathe here, just gently giving your body permission to relax, feeling serenity and excitement. And just bring yourself into your heart space with each breath, just becoming more aware of this present moment. And just taking this opportunity to be able to drop into this space of gratitude. Gratitude for yourself, for showing up, for being a part of this discussion. Simply by listening and receiving this knowledge, you are a part of this discussion. And just expressing gratitude for this beautiful, amazing community that we are building, for all the amazing people that have gathered here for the story we are creating. And so in this moment, just imagine all of us just sitting in a circle. You can imagine maybe we're in like a cute, cozy wooden cabin somewhere, or a little yoga studio, bundled up and just here to be able to share knowledge and wisdom, maybe sitting around a fireplace. Or maybe we're also at the dream tree, the guardian tree, this beautiful, magnificent tree that we gather in other meditations. And so just take this opportunity to just be able to look around this circle and just see the faces of the people here, and just allow yourself to be able to see them and to just honor them, and to just be able to express your gratitude and to see not only who they are, but the story they walk, the journey they have lived, the wisdom they hold, and the potential they carry, to be able to see the seed inside of them that we are watering each and every day, and to wish the best for them in this moment, to be sacred mirrors for each other's growth. So just take an opportunity here as you just feel this presence. And even if you just want to be able to physically put your hands on your chest and just continue to breathe here, and I'll stop talking and just allow yourself to be in this heart space, to be in this space of oneness, to feel this love, to really feel this love. And just take this opportunity to be able to express in your heart gratitude and words of encouragement and support to all the people who are in this circle tuned into this broadcast right now, and in the many moments of now that exist beyond this moment. So I'll just stop talking here and just allow yourself to just be in this space, continue to breathe, and continue to connect with this beautiful energy that we are creating here as a team. And go ahead and express your gratitude and share any messages that you wish in this moment. So just go ahead and then we'll come back in a brief moment. Just continuing to breathe here gently in this moment. And before we conclude this meditation, we'll just take this opportunity to be able to express one specific phrase or even one word for the people who are here. Words of support, words of kindness, words of encouragement, something that just arises in your heart that you just want to be able to say to everyone here. And then for those of you live or afterwards, you're welcome to share this in the comments. So just go ahead. What's one phrase that you just want to be able to express to people right now here? Beautiful. So just allowing to continue this vibration to be with us throughout this podcast, throughout this discussion, throughout this intentional sacred space that we are creating here together, and just feeling the excitement in this moment as we get ready to be able to connect and dive deeper into this infinite wisdom together. And so before we conclude this meditation, just taking a moment here to be able to finish off by gently bringing a soft smile to our face. We'll do a little bit of, as my friend Joseph has taught me, a little bit of smile-asana, where you gently take the corners of your mouth and gently lift them up towards your ears. And just do that and just add a little bit of a gentle smile, maybe even a little bit of a gentle giggle. And slowly from here, continuing to be able to feel and see this image of this space of us in this circle, and carry this with you throughout the discussion as you listen to it and take part in it. And feeling this love and this gratitude and this excitement and this inspiration in your heart, slowly from here, we'll gently bring awareness back to our physical body. And when you are ready, gently wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, and slowly open your eyes and return your awareness to the space around you. Beautiful. Awesome. Welcome back, everyone. Wonderful. For anybody in the YouTube chat, if you guys want to share your phrase that you had for the team, even if it was a single word, please, by all means. And my phrase that came through for me was the phrase, lead with love. So in theme with tonight's broadcast, lead with love. And any of the leading members, if you guys want to share your phrase as we get into this discussion, if you still remember it by then, please, by all means, you're more than welcome to. So if you guys are ready to get into this discussion, to get into this wisdom sharing, to be able to have some fun, having this opportunity for us to be able to talk about the things that we don't normally get a chance to talk about, and to be able to support each other and expanding our consciousness and changing the world, yeah, then go ahead and drop some 1111s in the chat and let's get ready to do this. So, the spiritual wisdom of conscious leadership. This is a topic that is incredibly important right now. And in a lot of ways, this topic is another one of those moments where I was kind of reflecting a week ago what is needed right now, and really feeling the cultivation of the energies that we are moving into, especially knowing that we've got the December 21st happening right around the corner. We've got alien disclosure happening and everything right now. There's a lot of crazy energies. There's a little bit of chaos happening in the world. There's a lot of growth. There's a lot of opportunity, and there's a lot of connection. So the idea of being able to practice exploring this idea of what is conscious leadership, I think is a great opportunity for us to realize that there are many different forms of conscious leadership. And so within tonight's discussion, as we hear from the different people on air, inviting you to be able to just kind of reflect, what does the phrase conscious leadership mean? How have you personally stepped into your role of leadership? And again, how can we create space to be able to help support others and being able to see the leader within themselves? So for me, just being able to really just kind of listen to my heart and just practice communicating what comes through in this moment. Don't have any notes in front of me or anything. If I just kind of check in with my heart right now and just be able to see what comes through, and then I'll pass over to Joseph, and then we'll keep going from person to person, and we'll do a little bit, again, kind of like a popcorn style throughout this broadcast. So for me, when I think of conscious leadership, for me, conscious leadership is a consistent process of devoting oneself to ongoing self-awareness with the intention to be able to develop without having to compare. So it's the idea of being able to really honor your own path, honor what the universe is giving you, and then to be able to see it from that perspective that even as the universe is providing you these opportunities, they're calling you into more of who you are. And so I think being a leader begins by being a leader within our own life. It means being able to cultivate our own consciousness and using conscious will to be able to decide what choices we are going to make each day. Are we leading within our own life, or are we being led by the media we watch, by what our friends tell us, by the food that we eat, by our sleep patterns, by the way that we wake up in the morning? All of these little things will undeniably choose the patterns that we unfold through and the way that we kind of lead ourselves into the world. So I think what I consider to be a big theme of conscious leadership, as I even go back to the origins of when I started this project, was about being able for me to personally kind of go through my own process of spiritual awareness, where I really began to realize, oh my goodness, we literally are interconnected. And oh my goodness, we literally are these spiritual beings having this human experience. And without feeling that I needed to tell people what to think, I knew that if I created the space, what I can do is to help lead people back to the wisdom of their own heart. And so for me, that is like honestly like one theme that I'll probably reiterate throughout this broadcast. And I'll just say this and then I'll pass it over to Joseph, is that a while back when I was really just kind of meditating and I was just kind of like checking in and just kind of like channeling my wisdom and stuff, I was asking myself this question. I'm like, okay, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? Like as a community facilitator, as a conscious media creator. And I was like, okay, I need to lead people. But then I was like, okay, but where am I leading people to, or what? Like, what does that even mean? Where am I leading people to, right? We have this vision of it's like, it's somewhere there, it's somewhere here. But the answer that I got is goal, our purpose, our role is to be able to lead people back to the wisdom of their own heart. So without even having to go through the process of saying, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do. Instead, if we can create space and give people the support and the encouragement and to be that sacred mirror, to see the potential within themselves before they may even see it, then we are giving them the opportunity to be able to return back to their own heart, to return back to their own connection of oneness, to be able to turn back to their own perception of spirituality, whatever that may be. And then through there, when we are connected to the wisdom of the heart, we have this ability to be able to be in tune with our intuition, to be able to receive this wisdom and this foresight, and to be able to move through with grace as we kind of flow through the constant changing waters of these times. So again, you know, I think it's kind of one of those things where it's like there's a difference between giving someone fish versus teaching someone to fish. So it's great to be able to give someone fish, to be able to say like, look, this is what we're moving towards. This is an example, but here's how you can do it yourself. Here's how you can cultivate your own consciousness. Here's how you can practice your meditations. Here's how you can literally rewire your own consciousness and bring more control within your life. And the last thing I'll just say here, and there's a lot more to be able to talk about, is that I think leadership, and I've been around a lot of different leaders over my years, and I've been very fortunate for that experience. But for me, I think leadership is, again, a big difference between leadership. There's different versions of leadership, and we see different versions, and the kind of like less ideal version of leadership is when you're like straight up, actually there's kind of a caveat here, but I'll just say this. You want to be able to invite people into something opposed to just telling them what to do. But at the same time, there are versions of leadership where if you're in a place and other people have kind of given you that position to say like, look, we trust that from where you are, you have the foresight to be able to make choices and give direction, and then to be able to hold that place of trust, that place of responsibility, to serve as a bit of a channel to be able to relay that information into the community, into the team. So even here within our community, what I'm doing is I am leading through the process of being able to say, look, here's a routine, here's a schedule, here's where we're going to show up, here's how we're going to coordinate, here's how we're going to manage. But within that, it's the invitation for people to play, to express themselves, to have this opportunity to see how they show up within that space. So leadership is a mix between inviting people into what it is that you are doing, telling people not what to do, but telling them what they can be a part of by creating a structure and a routine, a lot of that Capricorn energy. And then through there, being able to develop a symbiotic relationship where both the leader and the community are constantly growing. And again, through the community, as we've seen over the years, is about being able to help people see the leaders within themselves. Because every single person here, your journey, your journey, your story, you have the potential to inspire others. And if we're here and we're inspiring you, then you have that potential to inspire others. And inspiration is water for a thirsty world right now. So how can we do that? How can we cultivate inspiration within inside each of us? And then like candles, you know, one candle, one flame can light a million candles type thing. And then we can continue to light each other. And that's the goal. Is that as we do this, we activate leaders. And again, I'll just say this and I'll pass it to Joseph, and just finishing here, seeing this story where like, yeah, this is us literally coming together, not just as conscious media creators, but literally as a real world team of conscious superheroes, as spiritual superheroes, as light guardians, as light warriors, and making it sound like as epic as we can, because it is really, really epic what we're a part of. So I think leadership, again, is being able to help people see a story. This is a big thing. Leadership is having a common vision and helping people direct their focus towards it. That in itself is a big, big part about leadership. So it's about being able to see a potential and lead people towards it, towards a common good that uplifts everyone. As the water rises, so does every ship. So that's why we do this project. That's why we create this community. That's why we have people tuned in here from all across the world, is to be able to help inspire the leaders within each and every single one of us. And that leadership doesn't mean you have to have a viral video on TikTok. That leadership can be leading with love, leading with kindness, leading with compassion, leading with a smile, leading leading with a hug, leading with empathy, whatever it may be. So really going against any sort of norm that says, you know, like, oh, just stay small, and really bring in the light that we're here to shine out into the world, because that light is medicine. Your love is medicine. Your leadership is medicine, is water for a thirsty world. So without feeling the pressure to think, oh, I have to be a leader, begin by being a leader within your own temple, within your own consciousness, within your own routine. Reclaim your sovereignty, cultivate the inspiration, connect to the wisdom of the heart, and then through there the next steps will naturally arise. And so anyways, that's what I'll just say here. That took a little bit longer than I intended to, but thank you guys for just tuning in. If that resonates, drop some 1111s and we'll pass it over to Joseph. Quick introduction: Joseph, he's been on a podcast way back in the day. He's a good buddy of mine, local buddy to where we are in Canada. Happy to be able to have him on. Super wise, awesome, amazing person. So Joseph, I'll pass it right over to you. Please feel free to briefly introduce yourself, and then from there just talking a little bit about conscious leadership. And just to be able to get a scope on things, Abbey, I'll pass it over to you since I know you have to go next, and then after that we'll go to the next person. So that's cool, Abbey? Okay, perfect. All right, so passing it over to Joseph. Joseph, thank you so much for being here, and when you're ready, go right ahead, dude. Welcome.
Hello. Well, thank you for that. And thank you for creating this space. It's been like a decade of knowing each other now, I think, maybe, which is which is crazy.
Yeah.
Um, I guess like just to introduce myself, I was born without my right forearm or hand. Hello. I was in the Beijing Paralympics for swimming on Team Canada, so I was a professional athlete for several years. Literally in right before this happened, uh, I was recording progressive metal bass riffs and jazz riffs for various projects that I work on, so I can still play guitar and all of those things. I've like become a leader not because I wanted to be, but because I just kind of found that life is better when you're following your intuition and your interests and what sparks a lot of love. And as you get better and better at those things, I think that that naturally like leads you into being a leader, because as the beautiful man to my left, or whatever position he is compared to me for your guys' screen, I think that leadership really is coming from the internal voice and the internal connection, whether you want to call that like your daemon or like your intuition or your higher self, God, whatever. But I think that as we connect better with that, life will also present us situations in which we can become a leader. And I've kind of become one, not begrudgingly, but just because it never was a part of what I thought my life was going to be. And in me facilitating quite a lot of concerts, like kind of like ceremonies, art things, yoga classes, and being a therapist for the last several years with full time, and being a creative director in an artist collective. I just realized that um, to lead yourself is one thing, but to lead others is another. And I feel like a lot of um, maybe adolescence and moving into adulthood is learning how to lead yourself, and then the real gift of adulthood is to then learn how to co-create with others, which doesn't have to be leadership per se, like you're a team leader, um, but leading what you're kind of given, and that makes a large impact. One thing that's come to my mind since the meditation that we did was specifically times in my life when I felt irritated or frustrated with people around me, and maybe even holding on to that for way longer than necessary, like months or years or whatever. As I've been able to fall into ease and compassion with those people and whatever it was that was triggering or upsetting me or whatever, as I've been able to fall into ease and fall into compassion and maybe even love those things, entire doorways of creation have opened up. Um, and so what I've noticed the last couple of years is as I've been able to become more self-aware, more compassionate, and more loving, um, I'm better able to be a leader of others. Um, if I can be a better leader if I can also accept and love them more. And I feel like there's a subconscious knowingness that I am able to hold space for them, and then cool shit just happens. Um, I feel like I could probably talk about this for a little bit longer, but I don't really want to because I want to hear everybody else. And I've been talking all day, and I'd rather hear everyone else's amazing voices. So thank you for listening. Much love.
That's awesome. Joseph, thank you for sharing your soft, wise wisdom there. So beautiful. People are just like, but can I listen to Joseph just talk all day? Is that? Well,
You
yes, you
you
can.
you can.
You
Finding
literally can.
availability, YouTube is a good place, or just if you want to talk, just let me know. I'm
Yeah.
usually good for calls. Yeah.
Yeah, and Joseph we'll post some of his links into the YouTube, but you can at least find him on Facebook and stay tuned for more content coming his way. So beautiful. All right, Joseph, thank you so much. And with that said, we're gonna pass it over to Abby. Abby's heading out in a little bit, so we're gonna make sure that she gets to be able to jump in here. So Abby, if you're ready, passing it right over to you, and go ahead and briefly introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what conscious leadership means to you.
Hi, one second. Okay, I'm Abby. I'm Ab's Archive on Instagram and TikTok. Um, Conscious leadership to me is similar to what Joe was saying, coming from the heart with yourself and with others. Because this week I was not wanting to come on social media, and I was just really low. And then I had to go to my own heart and realize I I need to be there for myself and be there for others. I need to come here today and talk to everyone about being a conscious leader because I needed to be here for myself and for the other people that are coming here today as their first time. So some things I just wanted to look at was who to look to in these times. Um, Look at celebrities and artists, like musicians and artists mostly, because they're putting their pain out on public blast, and they're making it like they're showing their passion through their pain, and that's healing, and it heals their fans collectively, and then it heals everyone collectively. So really, um, look to like your favorite artists and see how they handle sorry, handle their pain. Um, Anything else? Mm, and just honoring your path as a human and giving yourself compassion to honor your own path and showing other people that it's okay to do it. That's really what being a conscious leader is to me. Um, yeah, thank you for holding space and allowing us to make spaces open for others. And that's really what it's all about, is opening up the space to talk about anything that needs to be brought up. So thank you.
Awesome. Abs, thank you so much for joining in, and you're heading out shortly. So again, for everybody here, connect with Abby at Abs Archive on Instagram and TikTok there, and also through the Discord server as well. So with that said, we're just going to keep the conversation rolling, and yeah, again, I even want to be able to invite people to even just kind of think, like, who are leaders that you look up to? What are their attributes? Why do you recognize them as like a leader in that, right? And not just a leader, but again, the phrase conscious leader, what does that mean? Because maybe there is like a leader who might be unconscious, that might be kind of like a asshole boss, so to speak, but a conscious leader, one who's again aware and integrity, working on themselves, working towards a higher vision related to the shifting consciousness, if that's how we want to be able to relate it. I don't think there's a set definition for what a conscious leader means. That's kind of why I wanted to create the space, because I think that archetype is something that we are stepping into and creating and exploring here together. So we're going to keep passing over to the next person, and again, as we go through here, Zentia, we'll pass it over to you next, and who wants to go? Tash, will pass over to you after. Is that, yeah? Oh, did you want to go after? Okay. Who wants to go over after Zentia? Tash, if you want to go after Zentia, that's totally cool. And then we'll just keep passing it around. So, okay, it's up to you. Okay, Curtis, we'll go to, okay, Curtis and Samantha, unless somebody has to leave early. Okay, all right. Okay, let's just keep passing things around here. And again, just for a little bit of variety, again, we'll just keep things kind of moving a little bit kind of, I don't want to say quicker, but again, more kind of like popcorn style discussion. And if you guys have a direct reply to something that someone said, just let me know partway through, raise your hand, and we'll just kind of move through it from there. So beautiful. Any continuous feedback and gratitude in the YouTube chat, please feel free to keep popping that in. And Zentia, passing it over to you. And peace, love, and pineapples. Did I get it right that time?
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
Love,
That's
peace,
what it is. Welcome, Zentia.
So first of all, I just want to give gratitude to everybody that showed up tonight, now, and in the future who will be listening or watching us. I'm going to piggyback off of Awesome Abbey and just say that that's exactly how my story is going. For my purpose, it took pain consistently to push me towards it. It was like at the biggest breakdowns of my life, I was pushed towards my path. And I didn't even pick up on it, like near-death experiences pushed towards my path still, and I just wasn't getting it. But this year, through the turmoil, I sat back just the other day and took a look at my work, and I realized just what Abbey said. I turned my wounds into wins, my pain into my passions, and I bared my soul pretty much. Every betrayal, every joy, every confusion, I put art to it and pushed it out there, because when I started the journey, for me, it was always about, if there's one other person in the world I can connect to, that makes a difference. Because when you're in that space, you're not looking for 50 people. You're looking for one person that understands how you feel. So if you can turn that out, that's what you're supposed to be doing. And I want to encourage the people who are new, don't worry about your numbers. Put your art out there. Rome was not built in a day. You know, as conscious leaders, one thing I always take from Brendon is, you know, the future, that people can be watching this in the future. So when you're thinking about being a conscious leader and going out there, and I feel like all of us bear ourselves in this position, because we're saying things that people don't say, we're doing things people don't do, and we're pushing against, you know, the status quo here on a regular basis. And that can trigger people, make them uncomfortable, but we're very brave and courageous, all of us. So thank you for you being brave and courageous, and thank you for supporting me in the same thing. As long as you're doing that, I feel you're being a conscious creator, you're being conscious of who you are, and you're being conscious of other people's beings, and you're okay with that. You're not looking to change anybody. You're not looking to shape or form them. You're like, hey, this is how I am. Can any of what I am help you? If it can, here it is. Do you have anything that could help me? I will receive that. You know, it's a natural ebb and flow to this process that naturally falls into place when you come into the space of being, you know, as was said before, that unconditional love space. You know, it really makes a difference when you start that self-love. It just, I swear to God, like a sprinkler system just starts spewing into all different parts of your life. And that includes conscious creators. When your heart is full of change and evolution and transformation, you have to tell somebody. You have, and you'll gravitate towards those people, which is why we're all here. The energy is strong, and it draws hearts together. And we share these spaces from all different walks of life, all different experiences. And I don't know, I think it's really cool. We all made it here, and we're doing this. So thank you guys.
Beautiful. Awesome, Zentia. Can you say it again? Peace, love, pineapples. That's like Zentia's like superhero catchphrase.
Peace and pineapples.
Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you, Zentia. And again, for everybody here, make sure you connect with Zentia. Zentia Infinite 6369 on Instagram and on TikTok as well. So a couple things there I just wanted to be able to reply to, but we're going to pass over to Curtis and just keep going. Again, you know, I just, because as we're talking here, like, again, we're all learning. Like ideas are kind of arising even as we're talking here. Like that's the purpose of the discussion. It's to be able to let consciousness explore this topic so that by the time we're done this discussion here, we'll have a little bit more clarity. And the phrase conscious leadership will perhaps mean a little bit more to us. But one of the things just what Zentia was saying there that I think is really worth reiterating is the idea that, you know, being a leader means being brave. And being brave can look so many different ways. Again, you know, I like the idea that being a leader is healing. Leadership is healing. Leadership is doing our own personal work and showing what is possible through our personal transformation. So leadership is about by leading by example. So I think sometimes when people think of leadership, they think of this idea that a leader is a teacher. And so for some people, that's where they can kind of get stuck, because they're just like, I'm not a teacher. Like, I don't want to be a teacher. But if you can just drop into the space where it's just like, no, all you have to do is be you. And then when you do that, you give people permission simply by your example. So there's another phrase called permissionaries, which I think is a pretty cool phrase to kind of summarize what it is we do. And again, and I think the leaders that the world needs right now, in addition to the personal work, is again that version of leadership where it's like treading new paths, going places that we haven't been before. And honestly, I just want to be able to acknowledge that each and every single one of us, if you're tuned into this broadcast, you're doing that right now. We are doing that right now. Each and every single one of us. We are vanguards. We are leading the way. We are treading a new path. And then the intention here is that, you know, by us having these conversations about spirituality and consciousness, which, you know, less than 10 years ago were just so uncommon and rare. And now as we do this, and content creators on TikTok are talking more about spirituality and podcasts, and all of us here as just a microcosm of the macrocosm, it's creating a path which more people will follow. And in a year from now, and 2 years from now, and 3 years from now, because of all the content and the leadership that is being put on for people to see, it's going to inspire more people to be able to say, if they can do it, I can do it. And that, I think, is one of the forms of leadership. Is kind of like that soft version of leadership where you're leading people even without them almost even acknowledging as leadership. They'll usually acknowledge it as admiration. They'll be like, oh, I really, and what is admiration? When we see admiration is actually very, I'll just say this real quick. Admiration is very interesting because when we admire someone, usually what we are doing is we are admiring something in them that we would like to see in ourselves. So when you are demonstrating a characteristic such as being brave to create your own podcast and putting out content, or again, just being able to go out of your comfort zone in whatever version that may be, again, you know, in that sense, your bravery, like your leadership in that way, is just helping more people realize that leadership is just something far, far, far more accessible than I think we give it credit for. So let's keep leading the way here, and let's keep treading those new paths and inviting others to be able to do the same. And yeah, helping people aspire to being able to cultivate whatever it is that is arising from them. And as Joseph says, you know, it's about being able to kind of like, spirit is kind of like emerging out of us, and when we create the space for that, beautiful, beautiful things happen. So all right, I like that idea. Again, you know, there's the seed of the leader, the guardian. It is inside each and every single one of us. We're just watering it each and every single day like a gardener. And with that said, we'll pass over to Curtis, and then from there, who wants to, just confirming, who wants to go over after Curtis? Samantha. Yes, thank you for reminding me. And then after Samantha, we'll pass over to Sifu. Okay, perfect. All right, so Curtis, passing over to you. Go ahead, dude. Briefly introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about what conscious leadership means to you. Welcome, dude. Go right ahead.
Hello, everybody. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Brendon, for hosting this. I really admire your consistency every day, every morning. It's amazing. You know, it's something that, you know, I'm in a place that is, I would call a toxic environment. You know, it's something, you know, it's always, everything's not always perfect. And, you know, I'm over there in the corner listening to this, listening to you, and it's like high vibes, and everyone's like wondering what am I doing? But yeah, it's been a long time since I've been back on here, but I have a lot to say actually. It was crazy. You said leading by example, and that was like the first thing I wrote down over here. It was leading by example, and what I call the mission of anger. It's not, I mean, it's not my saying. There's a something about Rudolf Steiner talk about mission of anger, and their transcendence through anger is possible. But those are those things that Joseph was talking about in terms of those things that you want to change someone, or you want to like those things that you just get you're passionate about. You really want. It's heartbreaking to see people live the way they do. Sorry to say, some people they live the way that they do, and you talked about bad bosses. You know, I've been working for, you know, a bad boss or whatever, and you know, it kind of goes. That's all connecting to me. That's why I love coming here. I love talking about, you know, just being a leader right now. And that's the hard part. The hard part is being awake. It's being awake in your situation. It's good to be out, and that comes after your roots. That explodes out. You explode, shoot out like a like an arrow. And it's testing your faith every day, testing your faith every day. And Zentia was talking about we're energy, in the universe. And I want to bring the concept of we're chemicals. We are expressions of life. We're expressions of this life that is communicating with one another. You have your significant other, whoever is there, and y'all are just exchanging these. They're releasing, you're pulsating hormones and pheromones and all that stuff. But we're attracting each other, and that's something that takes a lot of time. And we talk about seeds being planted. And we talk about the gardeners of the galaxy. What does that mean? We're planting seeds in the planets, the cores of the planet. That's where we resonate. We resonate through these planets, and they're releasing some kind of energy, and that's beautiful. And we have to understand that. And you talked about, and I'm going to get to that in a second, but you talked about the what's next for Earth right now, and that's something that we need to focus. Be leaders, be an example. We can live of water and air. We're breathing air. I go running in the morning. That's my food sometimes. That is what I need to live. And sometimes we're in the house and we're in the dusty, and we have to get out and just breathe some fresh air. And that's something that is, you have to set an example. Talk to people. If people are coughing around or whatever, that's not because not it's because they're not in the right environment. You got to go outside, touch nature, and purify yourself. And I want to go into purification in the marketplace. This is something that I really found and really important for a lot. And I have a challenge for people. This challenge is to go to your gas station or whatever you buy stuff and find the gem. What's that gem? What's that healthy food item, that organic, that almond milk, or that really all the ingredients you find, and look for that and keep getting that, because they're going to keep buying that and bringing that to that store, and you're going to keep trying. It's going to keep going. And I saw it happen. I was at Walmart, and there's some really healthy stuff at Walmart, and I'm like, wow, this is great. They're actually trying. And the wisdom that I want to share also with the whole I don't believe in colonization of going to Mars and stuff like that. I actually believe we really need to focus on how are we going to regenerate Earth first, and then plant those seeds, if there's possible, to go plant seeds on Mars, or go plant what grows there. That's just a whole nother science in itself. But yeah, be strong, and keep your faith, keep that positive, because those people are going to try to bring you down, and it's not the wisdom will win in silence. It's the silence will win, and you're going to be at peace, and they might be at war with themselves, but that is your goal, is to bring peace. And that's what I'm going to leave with.
Wonderful. Curtis, thank you for sharing and for planting those seeds. And again, I think that's a beautiful metaphor for us to be able to go back to this idea that, as leaders, the difference that we make in other people's lives, it isn't always going to be immediate. There may be circumstances where that will be the case, but as Curtis said, simply by us just kind of showing up and being there and having a presence and a consistency, and maybe it's not even always a consistency. Maybe we're here and there, but when we do pop up, we pop up with an intention, and we pop up with a presence that people are going to remember. And a lot of that is just because of, again, us being able to show up from that place in the heart. And there's other stuff there that we'll talk a little bit about later, but I think that's a lot of leadership is about being able to be tested. And how are we in those moments when we are tested, when there are things that, within our personal life, and maybe there's people challenging us, or maybe there's like a little bit of chaos, just being able to see how we show up in those.
Easier. It gets easier.
we learn as we go. So yeah, well, that's cool. Curtis, thank you, dude. Like I'm gonna pass it to Samantha. Was there anything else you just wanted to jump in with real quick, or is that cool? Pass it to
No,
Samantha. Okay,
thank
cool. All right, so let's just keep things moving along here. So we're gonna pass it to Samantha, and then we're gonna pass it over to Sifu as well. So Samantha, welcome back. Go ahead, briefly introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about conscious leadership, what it means to you, perhaps things you've learned from other conscious leaders over the years. When you're ready, Samantha, go right ahead.
Hey everybody, I'm so happy to be back. I'm Samantha Rose Paprin. You can find me on all the socials at Samantha Rose Paprin. Yeah, I really love this topic because we're stepping into this age of Aquarius. We're coming up to this beautiful 1221 portal, in which, we get the opportunity to step into that 5D consciousness for real, for real. And there's already a lot of us that have been operating in that consciousness. And the whole idea of this conscious leader movement has been sort of this, like, what's given me impetus to even start my own podcast, to be able to have these discussions with people who are leading authentically and inspiring change by speaking and embodying their highest truths. And even further, like, over my years of working in wellness and consciousness, and even media creation, I have had the opportunity to run conferences, speak at conferences, and like do the social media for conferences around the world and festivals around the world with some of the most high vibrational leaders on the planet. I've also come across a lot of false prophets and leaders who don't lead authentically and lead from an ego-based mindset. And it's really interesting to see that spectrum of leaders. And I think one of the most significant qualities in a conscious leader that I personally recognize is authenticity, is willing to show up however they're feeling and sharing that, to do the work, to heal out loud, to recover out loud from the traumas, and to truly just like own where they're at whenever they're there. Whenever, I came on this the last week's podcast, and I thought I had something to say, and then I realized, like, I am so in my shadow right now. I am so in like a healing moment, and I don't even know what I have to say. And I felt like I was speaking gobbledygook. And I got a couple messages from people who were like, thank you so much for what you said. And having that moment of like realization that, like, I still showed up, like I still did the thing, even though it didn't sound as eloquent as I would have wanted it to. It was still what needed to be said for not just other people to hear it, but for me in my own healing process. So I think that, like, that kind of authenticity is so important. And I've met people who run multi-million dollar corporations based on like heart-centered, amazing, conscious, evolutionary ideas, and they're incredible people. And I've also met people who seem to be running that type of business, but don't want to show the world their shadow. So it kind of gives the world this like false idea of like what is meant to be seen in a healing process. I like to think that a true light worker is also a shadow worker, someone who works in both the darkness and the light. I'm sorry if my dog is growling right now in the background, if you can hear that. He's checking out the perimeter. Maybe there's some shadows up in here. Come here, Leo. So yeah, I really find it super remarkable watching Brendon do this show and build this team, because he really attracts people who have been doing this work for ages, and then people who are just stepping into it right now. And he's able to be this inspiration to people who have even like double, triple his following, and like numbers aren't a thing, right? It's also super incredible to see that like we are all students and teachers of one another. And he really inspires me on a daily basis, because I've been doing this work for years, but I've been doing the social media side of this work, at least not for myself. And it's really incredible to see this community getting built, and being part of that. And I know he's been doing it for quite some time, since university. But I look around when I'm in these Zoom calls, And I am just astonished at all of these incredible beings that I get to sit with and learn with, and be inspired by every single time. And most often there's like a new face that I get to see. And I'm like, oh my God, who is this being? Like I get to like be part of this like co-creation. And that's another part of conscious leadership is the willingness to hold hands with other leaders and to forget about the competition, and to be able to say like, hey, I freaking respect and love what you're doing. Can we like amplify that by like doing it together? Can we build this, like, or can I show up to your event? I'm going to go to your event and then you come to my event, and then we're going to do other big events together in the future, just because I feel that in my heart and my soul. I know it's going to be so true. We had someone messaging in the chat already, a person, they're like, oh my God, you should come on my podcast. We should all be on each other's podcasts. Like that is like really, really what I feel is like we're coming home together and we're leading other people to that same home. And I loved what Zentia was saying, where it's like, yeah, we're these like way showers where we get to like do the thing that like not a lot of people like do, but they want to do it. And we get to like be the, what did you call them, permissionaries? We're the permissionaries. We're allowing people to have the permission to step into their authenticity, to be their magnificent selves, to have this like potent potential be activated and actualized, because we all on this planet have that. We're all here with great purpose. And whether or not we actualize into it in this lifetime or not, who knows? You signed a contract, I believe. You may not have this belief, but you signed a soul contract to say what you're about to do in this lifetime. And you get to choose to complete that. And, we are our biggest critics. And I think we're stepping into a time where the gatekeeper really doesn't exist. And the biggest gatekeeper is ourselves. And we get to just be like, hey, I've got the answer. I'm going to go do it. I'm going to implement it. And every day you get to magnetize the people that are going to be part of that mission with you. And I also really loved, I think Abbey was, yeah, she's gone now, but Abbey was saying, she had a week where she didn't really feel like going on social media. And you know what? I just realized that I haven't posted anything on TikTok in 6 days. And I had a moment today where I was like, oh my God, like I'm going to fail in the social media world. My career's over and da, da, da. Like all of this like ego 3D. Was trying to say a bad word, but it was stupid stuff. And it wasn't necessary, because I was taking care of myself this past week. I had so much other work, and I'm still doing the work every single day, even if I'm not putting something out on a social media platform. And, Rome wasn't built in a day, like Zentia said. So like, we do get to have this opportunity to like build and grow, and also like do the inner work and hug yourself and let yourself know that you're still doing the work. Even, yeah, let's hug ourselves. Let yourself know that you're still doing the work, even if you don't put something tangible out into the world every single day for other people to see, because you don't need that external validation. You need to validate yourself. And that's another thing too. And I'm going to stop rambling in 1 second, I promise. But like, we can be authentic leaders. We can be leaders, conscious leaders of just ourselves, We don't have to think being a leader means, oh my God, I'm going to lead a big group of people. You could lead one other person. You could be a leader of your dog. You could be the leader of your own house. You could be the leader of your family, your community. And you know what? Some of us are going to end up being talking heads and leaders of bigger communities. But I also think that we need to recognize the most successful leaders are humble leaders who are out there in the trenches with their people, who are figuring out like, how do we do this together? And I'm not going to just send other people out there. I'm going to come out there with you to figure out how to do this. And so, yeah, heal out loud, recover out loud, be authentic to your truest self, tap into that potent potential, because baby, you're magnificent. Everybody here in this room and everybody listening to this right now and everybody listening to it in the future, Holy moly. And we are just like, we're building this energy. We're stepping into this newness, guys. And even if it feels icky sometimes, good. The universe is making you uncomfortable so that you move, so you do some stuff. All right, I'm out of here. I will keep talking if I don't stop. So I love you guys.
Beautiful. Samantha, thank you so much. And it was cool because I know you jumped in a little bit late, but there's some stuff there that was kind of like reiterating what we were talking about at the beginning, where yes, absolutely, we were saying that it's like, yeah, like taking care of yourself and leading yourself is so important there. And we're gonna pass it over to Sifu in a second. And again, you know, for those of you who are just tuning in and wherever you are on your journey, because again, you know, different people are going to be called in different directions, and that's the beauty of it. There's so many things that Samantha said there that I want to be able to dive into, but I'm just going to hit upon just a couple things here. One of the things that's like, as a leader, there are things that you can learn. There are habits that you can develop, and those habits don't have to be anything outside of your authentic self. It just has to be a little bit of a routine that you become familiar with, that you create as just a regular thing that you do. One of the things that's great with being able to implement leadership within our day-to-day lives is to even be able to practice being able to be a leader within an individual conversation. So say if you're just having a conversation with a friend or a family member, you can lead that conversation, but not in a way that's like, again, like from a very humble place. But what I mean by this is that if you want to be able to like really help uplift people, say that's your intention. Your intention is to be able to uplift people. That's what you're leading them into. You're leading them into this potential, into their self-realization. One of the things that's always so important is to be able to acknowledge them, to be able to acknowledge them, to be able to acknowledge them for who they are, to be able to acknowledge them for the passion that they bring into this world. As something as simple as expressing a compliment is incredibly powerful and can go a very far way. And then another little trick, and this is something that, you know, feel free to just do it and don't even think too much about it, but is to even be able to like ask people what they're passionate about. You know, if you're having a conversation with someone, instead of just talking, and this doesn't, maybe this, I don't know, maybe this doesn't feel as relative since we're not having as many face-to-face discussions, but we're still here. We're still soul to soul, heart to heart, face-to-face digitally. But just being able to like ask someone, you know, casually, say for example, if you're just like sitting down with a stranger on a bus somewhere and you have the opportunity to talk to them, a great question can just be like, so what are you passionate about? Like, tell me, what are the things within your life that excite you? And I guarantee you that if you ask someone and invite them to be able to share in that moment, they'll get excited. They'll be like, oh, like, let me tell you about this. Let me tell you about my hobbies. Let me tell you about my passions. Let me tell you about the things that really light my fire. And then in that space, just by you being able to really be leading through the presence that you give them, through your acknowledgement and just helping them feel seen and helping them feel heard. And again, even within our community, we do this a lot where, again, it's about being able to celebrate the little things that are the big things. Somebody makes that first TikTok video, we're like, yeah, that's a big thing. That's a big thing. Because again, as Samantha was saying, it's not about competition. It's about collaboration. And it's really just being able to honor all of the unique and different energies that we share together, and then showing up as a community to be able to help make sure that everybody feels valued and supported. And then again, as we do this, is a very powerful phrase, but it's basically this idea that victory is a shared success. So in that context, yes, you know, like if a friend in our community, if a member in our community has a TikTok video that goes viral, if that's something that we're using as an example, then that's a success for everyone. Because again, especially on this scale, you know, we're seeing it from this perspective. And going back to even what Curtis was saying, you know, as leaders, we're not just here for social media fame or whatever it is. We're here to make a difference in the world. We're here to shift paradigms. We're here to plant seeds. We're here to expand consciousness, and that will happen in many different ways. And so again, as conscious leaders, I invite each person here tuning into this to just be able to start thinking in the back of your mind, you know, like, what are some of the ways that you're passionate about when it comes to helping shift consciousness. And that may not be something that you have all the answers to yet, but it is a question that I think the answers will naturally arise. And so one of the best things that we can do as a community is to be able to surround ourselves with others who are on shared paths, who are on similar missions. And then again, we see the inspiration through each other, and it gives us permission, and it just uplifts. And students and teachers is who we all are. And as Samantha was saying, I'll just say this on Pastor Sifu, I think the best leaders that you will know are the leaders that are not afraid to be vulnerable, that are not afraid to admit that there are still things that they are learning, that are not admit to acknowledge that even they still make mistakes every now and then. And then even as community, I think it's even important as community for us to still be able to hold space for our leaders, you know, like kind of like this idea where if this is, you know, just outside of this specific context, but say you're in a situation and a leader just kind of like does something and you might have some feedback on that, being able to develop a relationship where you can communicate that and they're open to it and they're receiving it and they're listening while still working towards common visions and objectives. So being a leader within our own personal life is knowing that we are constantly learning and being open to that process of learning, being open to that vulnerability that we will screw up, that there may be days when we don't show up quite in the same way that we do. And at the end of the day, again, you know, your most important job is taking care of yourself. And as you do that, following where the inspiration leads you, following that which makes your heart sing, because that, if you follow, like literally, like think about it this way, like you're following your inspiration. Your inspiration is leading you. What is your inspiration? Your inspiration is literally like the blueprint of your soul manifesting into form. If you think about that, that is your destiny. Your inspiration is your destiny, assuming it's coming from, again, you know, like a humble place, so to speak. So when you acknowledge that you are following, are being led by your inspiration, then you become a part of that. And then as a result, again, your inspiration becomes leadership for others, becomes leadership to other people to aspire them to. So aspire to inspire in the many, many, many different ways that we do. So let's keep moving along here. Again, if you guys are resonating, drop those 1111s in the chat. Welcome to Khadaura. Welcome, Khadaura. Thank you for joining in. And also, welcome to Adrian. Adrian, I know you just got your video turned off, but welcome to Adrian. We can get you synced up here as well. And we're going to pass over to Sifu. And then from there, again, if anybody has like, if you guys want to reply in between speakers, please feel free. Tonight's just going to be a little bit more popcorn style. So we're just going to move through things a little bit quicker, so to speak. And with that said, we'll pass over to Sifu, and then who wants to go after Sifu? Just give me a hands up for those of you who haven't gone just yet. So Sheena, we'll pass over to Sheena, and then would anybody, Khadaura, we'll pass over to Khadaura after that. Beautiful. Thank you again, everyone, for being here, for holding space, and for helping all of us activate the leader within. Pass it over to Sifu, a leader amongst leader, captain amongst captain, my fellow Jedi amongst Jedis. Paul, thank you so much for being here. Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you've learned about conscious leadership over these many years. Go ahead, Paul.
Hi, my name is Sifu Boggy. Sifu, well, we'll get to that in a bit, but Boggy means the balance between the chaos and the calmness. And for me, a leader is a Sifu. So Sifu means guide, muse. Somebody points you along the way, who guides you on the path. I think, or at least a conscious leader, it's more about being a guide. It's more about, you know, as you know, so many people have already said about leading by example. As Samantha said, you know, being your own, you are your own leader. You know, you're your own freaking hero in your story. You know, you are in your own story. You're the number one. So you should be your own leader and follow your own path. But it's this thing of, you know, there's interesting things within the animal kingdom. So in the wolf kingdom, the wolf, the leader, is always at the back. They lead from behind because they're there to, because it's like a stepping back. It's like you step back and you see the overall picture, and you're mingling about and you're looking through. And you know, that thing of examples that, you know, if somebody in your community needs help, you help them. You're not a leader. Oh, I don't do that sort of thing. Leaders guide, they help. They're there to inspire, but they're also there for me, or at least a conscious leader is there to shine that spotlight. Is for me, it's very much about shining the light on other people, and that everybody has their moment to shine. My nan would say, when she was alive, she said she would say that if you think of the old clock, an old style clock, that a broken clock is right twice a day. So the idea of is that whatever so it's the idea of you're not, everyone is the leader. Everyone has their opportunity. Everyone, has that moment to guide. And we've all said this, in all the speakers have said this in their own way. And it's this idea of that, everyone has their opportunity, and it's just knowing that, when your time to shine, is to be there and be there in your full splendor. But also, if your legs hanging off, be there in your full disaster. Be who you are, be your truth. Never be afraid to be you. It's interesting. I've over the years, I have a slight stammer and I'm dyslexic, and I say these things, and people go, oh, why do you keep bringing them up? Because they're my strengths. Because actually your weaknesses are your strengths. Everything you've been through has led you to where you are now. Every disaster, every failure, everything has led you to where you are now. You have to really remember that. And there's a great thing, I think it was there's a great thing, was it See, this is the dyslexia's kicked in because I've forgotten who created the light bulb officially. The Edison?
Nikola Tesla.
Well, Nikola Tesla.
Trick question.
I know that. Trick question, exactly. But there was the thing of it took 15,000 attempts to create the light bulb. And they say, oh, how do you feel after doing 15,000 attempts of creating the light bulb? And he says, it doesn't matter about the 15,000 attempts. It only took one. It only took one way to get it right. So I'd keep going until I get it right. And that's what life is all about. You keep going until you get it right. You keep going until you find the right way to do whatever that thing is. So it's keep going. Be there in your ups, be there in your downs, but even more importantly is, as Skull has said and other people have said, is celebrate other people's ups. I promote the heck out of everybody, because promoting others always comes back. When you shine the light on others, it always comes back to you. That's why I did a whole show. I created a show, 240 shows, called The Way of Conscious Mindfulness, promoting other people, because that way, every time you promote other people, you're raising that vibration. You're raising the vibration of everybody. And also, one last thing is being there for other people's ups, but also being there for their downs. Because when you're there for other people's downs, they will be there for yours. And it's being, if anything, it's being the lead. It's being the leader for others and being the support for others that you want yourself. So it's when you treat others how you want to be treated, that will eventually come back. And the best leaders are the leaders that are not all the way up 15 miles in the sky. They're down with you. They're there with you, supporting you and being there with you, and they know what you need. That's a true leader, a conscious leader. But as any good Taoist should say, hey, what do I know? Over to you, bro.
Beautiful. Paul, thank you so much. And I really just want to be able to acknowledge how grateful I am. Paul has been, he's got a special, he's got like a special like ribbon badge within the community for being like one of like the original members, one of our veteran members. Paul and I originally connected back in like 2010, and both of us have been creating conscious media ever since. And Paul, it's great to still have you involved with the project, and I'm just so happy that more people would get to be able to receive the inspiration and the leadership of your wisdom. So thank you, Paul, again for being here. So beautiful. All right, we're gonna pass it over to Sheena, and there's just a couple things here. I just want to say quick. And again, I love this discussion because I can feel there's like a lot of wisdom that's just kind of coming to the surface here. And again, we're just kind of crystallizing it and communicating it. I'll just say two things here. Sometimes being a leader is being able to be. You can think of it as like, as we evolve as leaders, this doesn't happen right away, but as we evolve as leaders, something that we can work towards is the idea of becoming a clear channel for consciousness, a conduit for consciousness. So in this sense, when we're talking about conscious leadership refers a lot to the intention, and the intention is to be able to serve humanity, to serve consciousness, to be able to help assist with the healing and inspiration both on individual scales and on the collective scale. And so what's very interesting is that as you continue to evolve as a leader, what you're getting good at is being able to sit with the question of what is needed for today. And so yes, you are enacting it through your character, through your ego, but a lot of times being a leader is just kind of checking in with your inner wisdom, checking in with the wisdom of the heart. This is exactly what we started off talking about, and being able to just kind of ask that question, be like, what is needed? And then as a clear channel, the information comes through, and then the action is what follows. And then being able to move through with that action is, again, as a result of our will. So in a sense, we're almost like emissaries of consciousness. We're conduits of consciousness. And the other thing that Paul said that I really, really like, and just to rephrase in a different word, sometimes being a leader means being the light for someone when they can't see it themselves, or they can't see it within themselves. So being a leader means giving people hope. And so this is what, just to reiterate, I think one of the most powerful things that we can do as leaders is to be able to tell specific stories and invite people to see themselves within that story from a place of empowerment. Let's talk about the story of you becoming the best version of yourself. Let's talk about the story of us building a team of badass conscious creators and leaders and coming together and inspiring each other and change the world, and inviting people to be able to see themselves as a part of that, as a shifter, as a person, as a light guardian, whatever name, it doesn't matter. But yeah, being able to create a story and inviting people into the excitement and the healing and the inspiration of that story is so, so important. So let's keep passing it over. Pass it over to Sheena, and then we're going to pass it over to, sorry, who is after Sheena? Why am I forgetting? Khadaura. And then after Khadaura, who's going after Khadaura? Who would like to pass over to Z? Okay, cool. And we'll just keep bouncing around from there. And once we've kind of gone through everyone again, it'll just be popcorn style, but if you guys want to reply to someone in particular, you're more than welcome to. So Sheena, passing it over to you. Thank you again, and welcome, Sheena. First time on air. Go ahead, briefly introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what conscious leadership means to you.
Hey guys, I'm Sheena. It is such an honor to be here right now. I am so grateful for the opportunity to share what or from my perspective, what conscious leadership is. And where do I start? I don't want to be too long. I won't be too long, I promise. So when Brendon brought up the topic of the spiritual wisdom of being a conscious leader, I immediately received a download. Okay. And because I was like, okay, what can I really say on this podcast to inspire, other people that will be listening? And I received the download immediately. So I'm going to share with you that download that I received. And a lot of you have touched on the same download that I received, which further assures me that we are so connected, that we all receive like the same message. It's so phenomenal. But what I got was that being a conscious leader, it's about being. It's about first knowing yourself, right? And then when you know yourself, you open up, like let's say you went through a dark night of the soul, and then eventually you can shine your brightest light, right? So then thus through that you get to know yourself, and then you can consciously be able to lead others. And let me give you an example. Let's say you're at a store, a grocery store, and you see two people arguing, right? And you feel the negative energy in there. And some people might be like, that's not my business. I'm not gonna, you know, get into their little argument. But as a conscious leader, you would say, okay, I'm gonna go within my heart space and I'm going to talk or speak to them from a place of love and understanding and wisdom. And then you will begin to flow and open up your heart chakra, right? And then you begin to talk to them and say, hey, you know, I see you guys having a little argument here. Let me just give you some insight on what I think you should do, or whatever the advice you have for them is. But that's a good example of being a conscious leader, because within that moment you are leading from your heart, and it's not an egotistical thing. It's more so leading from love and from a place of no judgment and understanding. And you know in that moment you begin to realize, hey, I am technically leading these people into a lighter space, or away from the dark, that dark negative bubble that they're in. And sometimes you're not even aware that you're doing it, but you're doing it just by being you, just by being from a place of love and compassion and understanding. And one of my favorite leaders or conscious leaders is Sadhguru. Many of you probably know of him. And one of his leadership quotes is, leadership means partnership, inspiration, cooperation, mentoring, and support. And I feel like that's what we all are doing here on the paradigm shift. Especially you, Brendon. Um, your vision, the vision that you had for this podcast or for this space that you have for all of us, it came from a place from your heart. It came from a place where you thought about, and you had an idea, and then you realized that that's something that would benefit the collective, and you followed your heart and you did it. And look at us here now. We're all benefiting from this one idea or thought that you had. That's the power of being a conscious leader. That's the power of knowing yourself. That's the power of going through your dark night of the soul and coming out and blossoming like a butterfly or a beautiful flower. That's the power of being a conscious leader. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. It's a wonderful topic. It's very inspirational. And that's it. Love and light to you. Namaste.
Oh, Sheena, thank you so much. Those words really touch my heart there. Just and again, that's where like, yeah, like we're leaders amongst leaders here, but honestly, sometimes you guys will say things and I'm just like, huh, making me feel feels here. So no, but it's great though, because it's I appreciate the acknowledgement, not because it's like inflating my ego, but because it shows that the work that I've been doing over the years is accomplishing what I intended it to do. And I think when we see that within our own work, when we get that feedback as creators and leaders in our own way, it reassures us and be like, oh, more of this, keep doing more of this. So Sheena, I think that's a great point there. The idea that being a leader is being able to see and connect and to visualize those visions, and again those visions that are in alignment with our heart, to be able to serve others, and if we feel called to do them. And honestly, like when I started this project as a little club in my college back in the day and I was going through my own spiritual awakening, it was one of those things where it was a simple choice for me, because it was basically, if I don't, who will? And I didn't know who would. I didn't have an answer. Quite frankly, I had to assume that if I didn't, nobody else would have. No, and not to say like, like the idea wasn't there, but maybe there needed to be that one person to just say, we're going forward with it. We're doing it. And again, being a leader is being able to really just kind of like continue to move forward with what you feel in your heart, and knowing that there will be some people that will think you're crazy and everything like that. But the other thing about leadership that's very, very important is that when you are leading from your heart space, you will attract other people that are going to be in resonance with that vision. And then that connection and that building of community will continue to uplift you. And the idea that as one person says, hey, I really appreciate what you're doing, and then another person says that, another person says that, that is literally the universe through those other people saying to you directly, keep going, keep doing this. This is awesome. This is important. This is needed. Keep doing this. And the other thing I'll just say real quick, and Khadaura, this may be even something, even David, I know both of you could probably even echo on this. Leading is also about transmutation. Leading is about alchemy. Leading is about realizing where there needs to be attention given to certain situations, transmutation, transformation, healing, whatever it is, and then being able to show up in that space. So again, being able to kind of like see, oh, things are kind of like feeling really heavy and everything like that. How do we lead in this moment? Let's bring a little bit of dance movement. Let's bring a little bit of joy and excitement, and giving people that permission to just kind of vibe and groove. And honestly, if we just started having a dance party on the corner, other people would be joining in, and they'd be like, I'm doing this because you're doing it, and we can all do it together. And I didn't even know I needed this, but I needed this. So stay tuned for more dance parties. But yeah, speaking of dance parties, Khadaura, will pass over to Khadaura, and then we'll pass over to Z. And who wants to go after Z? Just go ahead and let me know. Pass over to Tash, and then we'll pass over to David, and then that's everyone at that point. And then again, at that point, we're just going to keep. Well, I think Adrian's in here as well, so we'll go from there. Khadaura, passing over to you, dude. Thank you so much for joining in. Go ahead, briefly introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about conscious leadership and what you've learned from other conscious leaders over the years. Thank you, Khadaura.
Going on, awesome. I am Khadaura, a Zen embodiment coach, merging Zen and other holistic practices and more embodiment coaching, where the alignment between the masculine and feminine, or just creation, flow, force, and guidance. I'll speak first in the transmutation. I do belong to the International Alchemy Guild, and one thing I love about transmutation is teaching people to understand that with transmutation, it's not always about literally changing the way something is into something else. Sometimes transmutation is going into your darkness, extracting information and lessons, and transmuting them into wisdom. So that's taking the base metal and making it into something gold that you can then share. What that comes from is like your self-awareness. As Sheena was saying, you have to be aware of yourself. If you're not aware of yourself, it goes back to the practicing what you preach, because there are a lot of people that are saying things and they haven't actually integrated them. And then they get asked the questions and they get stumped. So as a conscious leader, we all have to realize that we don't have to always be right. We just get to speak our own truths. There's no right or wrong. It's just, this is my truth. This is my perspective. This is my experience. With that being said, the conscious leader understands that they are the teacher and the student, meaning you are going to learn things from your students and from other conscious leaders. One of the greatest lessons I learned as a conscious leader is that we don't have to have all the answers. Sometimes we pride ourselves in being like, I know this, I know that, I know this, I know that. And that takes us away from actively listening to people. We get so caught up, and that is a form of spiritual ego for some of us, where it's like, oh, I already know what to say. But because we think we know what to say, we're not actually allowing ourselves to embrace the emotions, to hear and feel what they're saying. And some people don't need an answer. And sometimes when you give that answer, you're taking away the lesson from them, because there may be lessons in between that journey for them that have just now been skipped, that would have prepared them for future endeavors or future journeys. Another is setting an example. As a leader, as a conscious leader, you must be mindful of what you do and say, specifically online. A lot of people get very easily triggered by people that disagree with them. Understand that as a conscious leader, because you have people looking up to you in a sense, they see how you respond to people, and you can lose your followings and you can lose all the things you've built just by projecting on someone, by letting someone get under your skin. So as a conscious leader, you get to remind yourself that sometimes it's okay to just sit back and reflect and just calmly say, thank you for your opinion. I'm very grateful. I disagree and I love you. And it's super unconditional love. You can love everyone. You just don't have to have everyone in your space. And when you're in that space of unconditional love, there's a huge thing of authenticity and integrity. When you know that you are self-aware and you are authentic with yourself and you are in full integrity, you can never be an imposter. I've met very many conscious leaders that experience imposter syndrome. Who am I to be teaching this? And I always say you are everything to be teaching this, because you are only teaching your own experiences and your own lessons. You are not teaching the way Jay Shetty teaches. You are not teaching the way Preston teaches. You are teaching from your perspective. You cannot be an imposter if you are in authenticity and integrity. When you step into your authenticity and integrity, also remember that you have to set boundaries. Boundaries are required in order to protect yourself and to let people know what you do and don't resonate with. It's perfectly fine for a conscious leader to tell people STFU, step back, I need to chill. A lot of conscious leaders I've met are afraid to be the bad guy or the villain or the bad girl. That is the drama triangle. A lot of times we get caught in the people pleasing, where we're like, oh, I need everyone to like me, so I can't talk about those things, because then people are going to be like, oh, that keeps you out of your integrity, your authenticity, and you stop fully showing up for who you truly are. If Sifu Bogi, I talked to him earlier this week, he loves being himself, and I love that about him. He is in full authenticity. There are people that have the gifts that he has or similar, and they are not sharing them because of what people will think. And it doesn't matter what anyone thinks. Again, this is you, your life, your love. He knows his surroundings. I know my surroundings. This is why I am in this community. I am surrounding myself with like-minded beings, because as I love to amplify and grow, you all love the same thing. So I am inspired by you all, just like we all inspire each other. That is your surrounding. That is what you love. That is the energy. And that tells the universe, like, oh, they're all working together to do this. I'm going to really amplify this when it comes out. Like when we did our 11/11. Whew. Oh, it was truth bombs the whole night. Another one is just to meditate and reflect. As a conscious leader, just make sure you're meditating and reflecting. Meditation doesn't mean you have to go into some super nirvana trance and climb at the top of a mountain and forever. No, just go inward with yourself. Count your breaths like they do in Zazen. Be present with yourself and reflect on the day. Remind yourself, have I done everything that I can control, and let go of the things you can't control? Am I accepting myself? Do I love myself? Yes, I do. And am I safe and secure right now? And for the most part, most of us are. And lastly, as a conscious leader, I believe intention, intent, and attention are the most powerful things. Your intention is what you plan to do in the future. Your intent is what you are doing right now, and your attention is what you're actually focusing on. As a conscious leader, if you know these are my goals for 2021, this is the new earth moving forward, that means your intent is, what am I going to do to contribute to that for myself, as well as the purpose that's greater than my own good? Because for everything every single one of you do, it's still for a purpose greater than you. Brendon creating this group, something for him maybe initially, here we are 10 years later, or however many years later, way bigger purpose than he probably could have imagined. And it shifted my life, definitely. And the attention was, I'm focusing on this and I will influence people. Our attention being on this live together is spreading to people. And it's just planting seeds. Maybe some people watch this video right now and they're like, I don't get anything they're talking about. And on 1 January, you might be like, oh my God, 11/11, holy, what's going on? And it just clicks. It's planting the seeds. As a conscious leader, plant the seeds, water the seeds. No, you're not going to see them all grow right away. Know that it's a long-term plan. And when it happens, you may never know about it, but continue to do it. And that is my perspective on conscious leaders.
Wonderful. Khadaura, thank you so much, dude. And again, I say this to everybody, but thank you just so much for being a part of this community and for you choosing to be here. Every single one of you, like all of us chose to be here, and just acknowledging that we made that choice acknowledges that we share a common vision, we share a common goal. And so, dude, I just really appreciate the work that you do, and it means so much for you to be here. And again, knowing that our wisdom together is reaching so many people and changing the world, like you said, in more ways than we may even know, but the intention and the intent and the attention is there. So beautiful. I love being able to just learn alongside each and every single one of you. And again, that's why I'm so passionate about this community. Yes, I want to be able to help support fellow creators, but at the same time, like, there's so much that I'm learning from each and every single one of you. So thank you for sharing your wisdom as we continue to learn together. I'm going to pass it over to Tash. Just echoing on one thing Khadaura said, I really just want to be able to hit this home. Being a conscious leader means being responsible. And I want you to look at the word responsible a little bit differently. I want you to actually shift your paradigm on it, similar to what Khadaura was saying. Responsible is also about being able to be in a circumstance where something may trigger us, but then instead of reacting, we respond. We are responsible. We take time to process and to sit. And before we take that next action, we take a moment to breathe. And maybe we take an entire day or maybe an entire week until we reply to that message. Or maybe we don't even reply to that message because we are in alignment with our boundaries and we are in alignment with who it is that we are connecting and engaging in the energy exchange that we are creating. So use the opportunities within your day-to-day life to be able to work on helping you become more responsible. So next time something comes out at you and an old version of yourself might have just like gotten really like upset or frustrated, and you can still acknowledge those emotions. That's not wrong. That's not the issue. But it's that step in between where the reaction happens and then there's the self-awareness and the processing and the reflection and the curiosity. What is this bringing up in me? What is this helping me learn? How can I show up to this differently to be able to create perhaps a different outcome? Whereas if I were to just respond with the exact same energy that I was met with. So being a conscious leader is a constant process of us being able to go through these tests and challenges, knowing that each one is helping us learn. So as conscious leaders, not that it's something that we look forward to doing, but we will be triggered. There will be people that will challenge us. There will be people that won't agree with what we do. And bless them, because they're helping you get even more clear on what it is that you do want to do. And they give you the great opportunity to be able to practice being responsible and being calm and just getting much more clear on your intention, intent, and attention. There's a quote here, and this is very interesting. I'm just going to say this. I'm going to pass over to Tash. I was just on Facebook because I was getting Tash's profile, and then this showed up in my notification, and a friend of mine reposted this. He quoted me like in a post with an image, a guy who's been following me for years. And I don't even know when I said this, but it's very relevant to just kind of what it is that we were talking. And literally he just tagged me on this an hour ago. So this is some like synchronicity coming through right here. But I'm just going to read this. And so this is something that I said at some point over the past 10 years. I trust the process because I trust my ability to persevere no matter what. Setbacks are not setbacks. They are always a part of the path beyond my will alone. And when I honor that, I can keep my focus on my goals with deep humility and confidence and gratitude. That's a very powerful phrase. And again, I'm not just looking at that as like saying like, oh, like, look at me, I said something powerful. I'm just like looking at that as like the wisdom that came through from the universe in that moment. And so again, you know, I think being a leader is being able to give people those little wisdom nuggets, give them those little gems, and to just kind of help them integrate more of that wisdom into their own mindset so that they can start seeing themselves in the world in a new way. And again, for them to really see just how incredibly beautiful and important and meaningful this journey is, and the fact that they're here is something that, again, you know, all of us are here to help be able to lead into the future in very important ways. So, okay, let's keep moving things along here. I'm going to pass it over to Tash. So Tash is one of our newer leading members within the community, and Tash is also, again, friends with Joseph and me, and we've all kind of connected, and now here we are, synchronistically, conscious creators working together. So Tash, I'm going to pass it over to you. Please feel free to briefly introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about conscious leadership, what it means to you, and what you've learned about it over the years. Welcome, Tash. Go right ahead.
Thank you so much. Happy Thriving Thursday. First of all, let's just shake things up a little bit here. Everyone give it a little shake. Yeah. Woo. Love it. Thank you so much, Brendon. I'm so grateful to be here. It's being in this energy is so amazing because I've downloaded. Oh, there's Roscoe wants to be on here too. There he is. I downloaded this on Spotify and so was listening to my car, and so I got to like hear all of your beautiful wisdom and voices, and so to see faces now, it's so amazing and special. Yeah, so I could basically sit here and echo everything that everyone has said because it's so wise and amazing, and absolutely, especially the lead with love, right? Like it all starts from the heart, right? Just be so authentically you that, you know, others have to feel, you know, comfortable enough. And I really feel this is appropriate to share right now So I'm all about the synchronicities, and like everything comes back full circle. So literally this year, like this month, a year ago, I had just been off work for a year, and I was just going back, and I had been invited to do this like clean slate 2020. So you go through the whole year, and you basically like harvest the good and forgive and forget the rest. Very powerful practice. I invite you all to do that. And so in doing this is kind of even how I even started going on Facebook. I wasn't even really into that before. And so there was an opportunity to win a course. And so in order to do that, you had to make these posts of like going through your whole year. So I started to do this again, not even really posting things on Facebook, never telling anyone about my stuff. Just been off work for a year. Most people didn't even know I was off work. So just really getting myself out there. And without even realizing that this is when I started to become this leader. So I don't know if you can call that a conscious leader if I didn't realize it. But there was this moment that, I'd see people out in public, and they, would come to me and say, oh my gosh, like I've been watching your posts, like this is so amazing, so cool. And then at the time, because where my headspace was, I would be like, oh no, like now they know things about me and whatever. And then it actually was so empowering to realize that, because I didn't know who was watching these posts, right? Like doesn't mean that they're engaging in them, right? So I have no idea. And then I think when I became, I guess, that conscious leader, is when it was the winter solstice last year, and someone was like, okay, so like do we get to be in your selfie of like, what's happening now? And so that really was a huge shift for me to really just show up. And I mean, I was showing up for me, is how it began, right? And that is really how it all begins, to show up for you, be there for you, because until you do that, you cannot be there for other people. Like I tried to do that for years, right? Like, oh, I'm fine, but like I'll help everyone else. And it really is about planting those seeds. And yeah, again, like shifting that energy, and of course, like we're all, energy healers, light workers, whatever you want to call it. And I remember someone asked me one time, like, oh, like at work, because I work at a hospital, they're like, oh, I'm sure you do all your like energy stuff there. And it's actually asking the questions and shifting the energy that way, right? Exactly. Like you said, Brendon, like I literally ask my patients as I'm starting their IV, like, what brings you joy in life? Right. And half the time their first initial reaction is like they laugh, like what? Or like, what do you do for fun? They're kind of like, what? Like, not this. Right. And so it's just it's just shifting that energy. And really bringing out the bright, because I also, Brendon, love what you said about, there's a little bit of chaos in the world right now, and so much love and so much good. I was like, wow, like there really truly is so much love and so much good. And so when we can show up and just be ourselves, and fully confident and not ashamed of what we've been through, because it really has made us the people that we are today. And again, so this word trigger, I remember there was a mentor of mine, and got me to shift my perspective on trigger, right? Because at first I was triggered by everything, literally everything. And so it's like, what if trigger was simply like a reminder, or bringing into awareness? So for instance, like a Post-it note, I don't have one, but we'll pretend this is a Post-it note. So you like put this Post-it note up on your mirror, and then that's a trigger, right? So I was like, okay, I can shift my perspective around that. And then it's like, also when we're triggered by other people, it's like, okay, well, that's simply a Post-it note of like, oh, cool, this is coming into my awareness now. And then sharing that again, just being that full authentic you, right? Because when you can do that, it really allows other people to feel safe. And you never know who's watching, right? Like you really never know who's watching. And again, it's just like letting that go, is like planting those seeds, and then like whatever happens, right? If they're not attached to the outcome of like, oh, well, this person would really benefit from this, right? It's just like, hey, this worked for me, right? This is what I'm doing over here, just completely out of love. and as an example, showing others like what is possible, right? And then it's like, well, what else is possible, right? And then again, that like teacher student, like I love that, because there's so many, where there's infinite possibilities, right? So simply just showing up for whatever possibilities have worked and shifted for you, it really has that ripple effect. And so being a conscious leader is really like declaring that, hey, I'm going to up level every day, and I'm going to show up for me every day. And again, if that means not showing up on social media, or not, showing up as like a woo awesome, it's like a hey, this is how I'm feeling that day. That is the most powerful thing, in my opinion, that anyone could ever do. So yes, thank you everyone so much. This is such amazing energy. I love you all. Like honestly, you guys all said perfectly everything. So thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be here. Woo! How does it get better than this?
Thank you, Tash. That's like Tash's like catchphrase. How does it get any better than this? That's like, that is right. Like that's you've heard you say it a few times so far. So no, it's awesome. It's a great question, right? And even just that thought, it's just like it can get better than this, and it's good. Like as we keep building, but even in this moment's great. This moment's beautiful. It's exactly what it needs to be where we are. So Tash, thank you so much for being here and for bringing your energy. And I'm so excited for more people to be able to get connected with you. Again, Tash does have a Facebook profile as well as an Instagram, and we posted those into the chat there as well. We're going to pass it over to Z, and then we're going to pass it over to David. There's some other stuff that I want to just be able to get into where, and again, even just leading it into Z here, this is actually relative, where again, talking about being a leader is also about being able to recognize where there is a need and then filling that need, creating a solution for that. So it's interesting because I think being a leader goes hand in hand with being an entrepreneur. And a lot of us within our own ways, we are entrepreneurs. And I think sometimes the word entrepreneur gets a bad rap where it's just like, oh, okay, so they're making money off spirituality now? Like, what's the deal there? It's like, no, we're creating a form of sacred commerce to be able to help support ourselves and showing up in a devotion that we feel called to so that we can continue to serve each other and make a difference in the world. So I think in that sense, even for the people listening to this, like, yeah, you are more than welcome to be able to step into a role of leadership that may involve the title entrepreneur. Or maybe there's a new word for it. Maybe we call ourselves heartrepreneurs, or dare I say, Tash, we call ourselves awesomepreneurs. And from that, we continue to keep building and continue to carry forward the energy and the legacy of all the leaders that have inspired us along our journey. So with that said, we're going to pass it over to Z. Z, I'm going to pass it over to you. Please feel free to introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about what conscious leadership means to you. When you're ready, Z, go right ahead.
Okay. Hi. Good morning, guys. I love that you were talking about that subject right as we went into this about entrepreneurs. That is a trigger word for a lot of people, for sure. Whether it's, oh, you're a part of a fad, or, oh, what, you just, is that a fancy way to say you don't have a job? Like something of that nature. I like seeing Zentia laughing right now. So I actually tell people, I did a podcast interview a week ago, and they were like, oh, what made you become an entrepreneur? And I told them, you know what? I fucking think everyone in the world is an entrepreneur. They just don't know it. What is being an entrepreneur if not like self-empowered decision making? I mean, you can be an entrepreneur even within an institution or within a corporation. It's, you decide on a problem, you figure out a solution, and you implement it. Like that's being an entrepreneur at the core, in my opinion, and I think anyone and everyone is. And I think my own internal goal is that everyone becomes an entrepreneur. Like they make that self-empowered decision for themselves in their lives in every aspect. And that's kind of like what we all want for everyone in a way, when they can connect to consciousness and have that radical responsibility over co-creating their life, right? Like you're an entrepreneur of your life in that way. And your business partner is God. So anyways, so your conscious leadership, this is super interesting for me because it's a evolving conclusion. It's something that I'm still formulating and constantly trying to integrate the old with the new. And what I mean by that is the old paradigm with the new paradigm. And we can talk about being authentic and how that's a form of leadership. And I love how people earlier were like, I've seen the shadow side of that. I've seen people use authenticity to manipulate people, like the appearance of authenticity, sharing certain stories that create emotional responses within people for for reasons that aren't actually authentic. And I've been surrounded by narcissists and high-end executives that I've seen very, like sociopathic type tendencies. And when I was younger, that was my goal. I thought this is the way to be successful. This is the archetype of leaders. This is what people look up to, and this is what creates success in the world. So I actually delved deeply into the opposite side of the spectrum of what a conscious leader was, to like a total unconscious one of disconnecting from my heart completely. And seeing that, hey, and it was a means. It was like, okay, well, I'm gonna destroy big pharma. That's my goal. So it's a means to an end. Like, if this is what I have to do to have power in the world, because this is what everyone around me is doing to have power. I was like surrounded, like it's just just been through divine guidance. Like, I came from humble beginnings, but for some reason I continuously get put into situations where I'm in rooms with billionaires, I'm in rooms with multimillionaires, like, and I have to connect with them for different reasons throughout like the last 10 years. And I've gained so much experience from there. And that was a pattern for a while, was this consistent like sociopathic type of archetype of a leader. And an example of like, so now obviously fast forward, here we are today. And I have found a type of leadership that I align with, that I don't have to feel like I have to change and contort myself in order to accomplish some sort of goal. And I can actually just be. And now I'm experiencing like what stepping into the light completely is, after going to the dark and experimenting there. And honestly, it was amazing. And to be able to come now to a circle about it. And I find that Brendon is like an incredible example of like a conscious leader. And what are traits that make one be that way? One thing that I highly value in him, that I talked to my co-founder about, is his ability to communicate neutrally. Like, we all have strong opinions, okay? That's how we're here. That is a strength of mine, but it also can be a weakness. I know I trigger people. I am the type that likes to rip the bandage off because I like results. I like to execute, okay? And that it shows throughout my personality, and it's why I'm a competitive creature. And then I see someone like Brendon, and he's like, I know he has strong opinions, but somehow he has flow in translating those thoughts to people. And I just watch in like a trance. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I hear him, I get what he's saying, and it's like, and it can resonate with all of us. It resonates. I could put him in a room with a sociopath and he could still talk to them. You know what I mean? Like, that's a fucking trait. That's a skill. And that's not easy to find, because people, again, they have to contort themselves in order to like obtain whatever result they're looking for. An example is I was in Dubai like 2 weeks ago, okay? And I was hanging out with my friend who's Nas Daily, NAS Daily. He has like 30 million followers on Facebook. I was giving him a Bax bag. And his one of his employees is called Tony. He's WhatsApp Tony on Instagram, and he has like 30,000 followers. And I'm mentioning the following count because it plays a role in why I'm even talking about this story. He's a video content creator. Amazing. He really looks up to Nas Daily. Nas Daily is an example of a fucking square, okay? Yes, a lot of people look up to him, but I promise you, when you meet him in person, he's so disconnected. He doesn't, he cares about the numbers a lot. Like, his goal is to stop having sex, and he thinks emotions are an issue in society. And he's like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I don't want to sound judgmental, but I know we'd all have the same opinion. And then like just like kind of taking his employees, because I was having conversations with them, and their video content creations, they were all upset about the number of views their videos were getting. They were all upset about the number of followers they had or didn't have, right? It's such a sharp contrast to like participating in these communities and participating in all these other ones. And reminding them. So I like being a conscious leader, I realize, is the intent behind what you're doing. You can be doing the same exact thing. You're creating a video. What is the intent behind it? For them, it's like engagement. Let's get our views up. Let's get our followers up. And to, to their credit, you need to have a video over 3 minutes to monetize on Facebook, and that's their livelihood too. And that's why it is really important. Yes, I get it, but you can still have the intent change. And I literally was teaching them, hey, what if you created content that was serving people, that was relatable in a way that was actually benefiting their life, that actually was growing them, and even, throwing in the words like, make it more heart-centered, because what is more important in the world right now? And it's shit's so radical in like the mainstream world, right? So what is being a conscious leader to me, and especially with what I'm doing and what Brendon's doing and all of you guys are doing, how do we integrate the people who are not of this mindset or belief system or an understanding with people who are, okay? Like, we can be in this echo chamber all day fucking long, but is that really doing anything? I'm not here to be in this echo chamber. I'm here because I want to provide tools for people to share their story. That's and then people create their own stories. One strength of mine in being a conscious leader is actually having this crazy radical acceptance of wherever people are on their journey. Okay, that's what me going deeply into my shadow has brought me into this position where I'm like, oh, you're a murderer, okay, that's cool, fine, whatever. Oh, like it's that extreme, and I can't talk with anyone, just everyone, about it, because not everyone is in like this place of radical actual acceptance. But so how do we bring these disparate groups together so that we can have that effect of like, hey, you can be a heart-centered content creator, or what, like, that to me is being a conscious leader, basically, is what I'm trying to say, is like having that impact on people to like change their intent of whatever they're doing to a service that's more heart-centered, and that the way the framework that is different for everyone. And anyway, so this is the first time I actually wrote notes for one of these podcasts. Okay, every single one I've came in, I've been like just talking, but I was like, man, there's so much here, because this is my life right now to such a large degree. It's like, how do I bring in what I know about technology entrepreneurs, a very cold machine, driven world, and I love that stuff too, but bring this heart injecting into it, and vice versa. Like, that is, and being a woman doing it at the same time, like, we have different hurdles being a conscious leader than other people do, and I'm very in tune with my sexuality. I like to be a sensual female, and I know that being in tune with my body is a power of mine, is a power of the feminine that has been repressed for fucking forever. Is that something that you can deal with, like, in a conference full of tech bros? Like this, that there's a different effect on them, and the hurdle to go through. I used to get so upset. Okay, I used to get so fucking upset when a guy or like people at these tech conferences wouldn't take me seriously or underestimated me. Okay, now it's a strength. Okay, like, let me tell you, you underestimate me, I fucking slither into everything you're doing, and you have no idea that I'm galvanizing you in this way, and taking it and turning it into like a channeling consciousness to what you're doing, to your own heart, without you realizing, because not having your defenses up because I am unsuspecting is a strength. That took a while. You had to like let go of the trigger of like, I grew up like, I wish I was a guy, like blah blah blah, I want to be taken seriously, like, anyways, we're not getting to that. But and okay, getting towards the end. What is a conscious leader? Also, for me, the most important thing I like to do for the people I work with is reflect the genius in others. That is something that I think conscious leaders do. I think that's something we all do for even our clients to some degree. Acknowledgement of their role, what they provide, their benefit, and just being an awesome person. I love to make people feel awesome, because they are. Everyone has something about them. They're genius. I love you, Sheena. Like every time I come on these broadcasts, it's a very natural state. Like, I want to just acknowledge all of you and like collaborate, like chat. I know we're supposed to have like our own individual, but I just start talking to you guys too. And so I like what you said about sacred commerce. I wrote that down as entrepreneurship, a different way to say it. And compassion for the user journey. That was another conscious leadership thing to do. What I mean by that is like, I like to use this example a lot. This year was crazy for us. The things I learned this year I realized if I had learned earlier this year in terms of how dark the world is, and like, I mean, I'll go ahead and say it, like satanic cults and things of that nature and the things they do, like I would have killed myself if I had learned about this a few years ago. I could not handle like being that like in a place that I knew that existed, not having community, not having millions of other people waking up at the same time. This year, thankfully, millions of people are waking up at the same time, so I'm not alone. And for people who have known these certain truths for many years, I commend you guys, because I couldn't have done it, right? And knowing that, it's breeded so much compassion for wherever anyone is on their own journey, because I know myself, even though I'm a strong human, could not have been able to handle that. So that's like, okay, God knew it was the right time for me to learn about this and awaken even to a larger extent this year, because that was my time. Everyone has that, and we kind of forget that because we're on this like crazy mission of like, we got to stop this, the technocrats, we got to stop the big pharma, we got to stop vaccines, we're gonna stop, and we forget like God's fucking here too. Like everyone is on their own divine timing, and guess what? Like some people are supposed to die. Like maybe a large group of people are really supposed to die. Like I don't know, but consciousness still continues to exist, right? Like we don't know the grand plan in that way. I don't know, but I'm just saying, like, having compassion for the user journey wherever they are in their awakening, pre, post, whatever, is important for a conscious leader too. And what we can do is just bring people together so they can have the synchronicity, have whatever knowledge they were supposed to learn that's good for them on their path, on their journey, for their purpose. Yeah. So, and lastly, just equanimity, which is kind of like what bouncing off what you guys were saying, not reacting. I think equanimity is important. It means that you have that internal peace. I think it's also important for people to react. I think, especially for women, anger is a very repressed part of their nature. Just in general, it's a program. Like, a woman will fucking walk into a chair and apologize to the chair. You know what I mean? So how do we, I actually empower women, like, get mad. Okay, the world needs you to be angry right now. Like, you need to express that part of you. And that actually creates a conduit for them to actually create a greater impact, because a lot of people are actually just repressing it. I've been in a lot of story circles with a lot of women, and this was a prevalent issue, was that they contain their anger when actually it's just as beautiful as any other emotion that they contain. Having equanimity where they can consciously be angry is the important trait of the conscious leader. But I think not reacting or just like repressing or just like whatever, I disagree to that point. And just having a conscious anger that serves you too. Anyways, that was probably the longest I've ever talked on this broadcast thing. But yeah, this stuff is cool. I'm happy to be cultivating the definition continuously with you guys now too, especially.
Oh, that's awesome. Z, thank you. Thank you for bringing the sacred fire there into what it is that you're communicating, the passion. So no, absolutely. And even just the what you were saying there again about sacred rage and really encouraging people to be able to like honor those emotions, I think is a great form of conscious leadership. You get some versions of kind of I mean, whether it's intentional or not, but yeah, there's kind of like this syndrome within the spiritual community, and we've all seen it. We don't really have to talk too much about it, where it's this idea that everything needs to be love and light. But I think, again, what the leadership we actually need to is like, let's like start being like gray Jedi. Like, let's really start playing with the yin and the yang, with the Kali, with the Kali and the Shiva and the Shakti, and so I think for you, as a woman, as a leader, as an entrepreneur, to be able to say like, like maybe there are times where we need to get angry, because one thing that I communicate and remind people through my words is that oftentimes things that we recognize as anger and frustration and even rage is actually love in disguise. The only reason you're angry about something is because you care about something deeply. So if there's a time where sometimes you need to communicate a message and rage and anger is an appropriate way to do it within your own leadership, you'll know when that moment is, and you can give yourself permission to be able to do that. And like you said, to be able to do it with a balance and an equanimity as well. And huge shout out to Z. Z, speaking of humble leaders, is a project leader within, again, entrepreneur wise, a new app that is in development, the Vibeo app, and definitely be sure to check more of it. Vibeo, Vibeo, on Instagram, and you can even sign up for the beta. They're rolling things out, and there's other people in the community that are getting involved with it as well. I know Z could probably tell you a lot more about that. I'm going to pass over to David in a second, but Z, is there anything else you just want to mention real quick? Even, I mean, I know this isn't like all about Vibeo for a second, but go ahead, just plug them, because that is like about leadership and because Vibeo is about inviting people into a space to be able to share and express their leadership, their vibe, their conscious intention. So within the context of the discussion, Z, please go ahead and just mention a little bit about Vibeo and how that relates to the theme of conscious leadership, because I think that app is giving people permission to step into their role as conscious leaders. That's what I see it as. So
Sifu is going wild right now, because I called him today over video chat, and I was like, Sifu, you're like, I just want to show someone right now, because we're getting ready for the Zoom onboarding call, where I'm just going to take a walkthrough through the app. I realized there's already too much stuff built, and I need to take you guys through it, and I'm really excited for that. Actually, also, Brendon, I was going to ask you if you could do a little meditation in the beginning for the little group, please. That would be cool.
Okay, yeah, we'll touch base about that after. Yeah, no problem.
Okay, because it's awesome what you do. But so the Vibeo app is a place to find people with good vibes. It's competitive to TikTok and Instagram. It's a place where you post a vibe, which is a video message, just like Instagram when you post a story, or Snapchat when you send a snap, you're sending a video message. Anyways, you post a video message to a topic, and other people can respond with their own vibe, and then you have multiple vibes responding to the same whatever topic it is. So it started off, being called MBC app, Mind Body Consciousness app. But then that became kind of like what I was saying earlier. It's exclusionary. I don't want to create an echo chamber. Mind Body Consciousness app, MBC app would have been that. So we shifted to Vibeo. It's where you vibe on video, because it's still what's a vibe? It's creating awareness of your state, and that's what birthed Vibeo. So it's all about vibes. It's all about good vibes. We took a more mainstream approach so that we can penetrate the world and bring you guys and the world and integrate it together, because you cannot do that on TikTok effectively. You cannot do that on Instagram effectively. They're built to create echo chambers, by the way. That's the model. And I could go deeply into the tech behind that, but the point is, so yeah, we're launching, we're doing a exclusive mini group of people first, because the people who enter into this space, like conscious creation, the energy put into it is so important. The coding, the verbiage, we have something called heart vibes. You can actually send, you press a heart and it vibrates, and you can comment on a video message, what you're vibing on about that video. And that actually becomes a comment/tag with other people who are vibing on a video, sending out heart vibes, and that is the creation of synchronicity via an app. So it's kind of abstract right now, I apologize, but what Vibeo does is create synchronicities using technology. Literally, it's to connect you to everyone who's vibing with you on whatever you're vibing on.
That's awesome. Well, stay tuned, everybody, if that got your interest, for more information about Vibeo, and yeah, I'm more than happy to be able to help let people know about it. And again, Vibeo app on Instagram, and I posted into the YouTube link for the link tree where you can connect to the beta as well. So Z, thank you so much. And again, we're going to pass it to David, and then from there, we'll just keep going into popcorn style discussion. So Z, is there anything else mentioned before we pass over? Or?
No, good. This is such a great topic, honestly.
Perfect. Awesome. All right. Well, Z, thank you again. And thank you for your conscious leadership as well. So the world, straight up, the world needs more conscious leaders right now. And so that's exactly what we're seeing happening. And that's exactly what we're creating more of. So thank you again, everyone, for being a part of that, story. So, David, you ready? Pass it over to you. Dude, thank you so much. Honor to be able to have you here, and thank you for your patience and passing it over to you, dude. Go right ahead and tell us a little bit of even just things that you've heard that might have resonated with you, and from your perspective, what conscious leadership means to you, and introduce people a bit about who you are as well. So David, go right ahead. Thank you, dude.
Thanks, B. Hi, I'm David. I'm on TikTok and Instagram as motivational speaker. I'm like a spiritual Florida man, your spiritual best friend. I kind of just like making content that I think can be, useful in your life. This has been a really interesting experience because I think, I've been on a few of these podcasts, and maybe more so than I've ever experienced. This is the first time I've gone sort of last in the queue specifically. And also one of the first times that I would say, and this isn't like a disparaging on any of the other ones, whatever, but the topic has been covered so completely and thoroughly that towards the end, I'm like, I like literally people like jumping in and like, I gotta go, and I'm like, I'm definitely going last today. That's definitely what's happening. And just, the energy out of the gate, I knew it was going to be a little interesting because I felt like, I don't know if it was Sifu, I don't know who was doing it, but my chakras were just out of control, just downloads, chills. I was like, okay, today is going to be a trip. And so towards the end, I started noticing, I really, really was like, oh my gosh, oh, well, I was going to talk about that. Brendon killed that. All right. Khadaura killed this one. Tash jumped in. I was like, all right, Sheena, all right, what do you got? And it just, in such a beautifully thorough and helpful way, I was like, well, I can be open and curious. That is what I got right now. That's all I got. And whatever comes up, and that's okay. And I think that journey kind of led me to, I guess, the first thing I do want to mention, which was just listening to Z, which is one of the things that I would say all of us, resonate with, which is whenever we're working with somebody in a session, doing anything, clients, is largely we don't know where this is going to go, and being open and curious as to like what's going to come up, instead of playing by sort of this old paradigm of, all right, so they say this, then I'm going to pivot here and I'm going to do this and I'm going to blah, 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 blah. And just that openness, even to the moment, I literally, until the end of Z speaking, was like, I don't know what I'm going to even say. Was like, fuck. And so the first story I want to actually share, and I felt like that was a long lead in, but was Z talking about like this idea of coming with a little bit of this yin yang energy, like playing with a little bit of this heat. And I had a specific experience that I think might be useful. Last night I was on a live and I got some folks in my live that were saying some things, and I found myself consciously being a little more, I don't want to say angry, but a little more hot than I'm used to. I definitely, over the course of my journey, was very aware of that sort of, and I don't like to distance myself from this, but that sort of spiritual ego phase of when, it's that sort of teenager that you're getting downloads constantly, you kind of feel like you know everything, and you can, be aggressive and whatever on people. And so I don't think I leaned into it quite as much as I imagined I did, but I am very aware of that. And last night, I very much found myself having to have a very like direct response to a few things on my live. And I remember feeling like, kind of looking back and judging. My friend was on the live with me. I was like, oh my gosh, like, was that too? Oh my, is everybody okay? I don't know. And it was this really interesting moment. And just listening to Z and listening to Brendon speak about that, and opening up that freedom just felt like it was such a glorious moment. So I want to say, for me, this conscious leadership thing is just about also being open to all the other leaders, every single person that you're coming in contact with. I literally was one of my clients. I was responding to a coaching on a text today in the shower, and I caught myself sort of apologizing to this person I was coaching, because I was like, I'm so sorry I didn't get back to you quickly. I was on a long hike today. And she's like, actually, this happened in exactly perfect timing, as it usually does. And I was like, right, as it usually does. What are you apologizing for? Thank you for that lesson, right? And so, if anything, one of the biggest things that I love is being a conscious leader requires you to be and remain open and curious and okay with not knowing. I think our the paradigm that we're sort of shifting from is this idea of, I know all the answers. Gotta know that this is this, and this means this, and this is this is a cup. But like, moving to a state of openness and curiosity and being okay with, I don't know what's going to come up, but I'm interested, and I know where my intent is, and my intent is coming from a place of love and heart-centeredness, and I know that's going to manifest in a way that is loving and helpful for you. I don't have all the details, but we're going to get there. And yeah, I don't want to ramble, because I think that this was a great lesson for me tonight in just remaining open to everybody and sort of not knowing the answer. You don't gotta know. And I am grateful for this community, and every single one of you are my favorite human teachers. I swear it blows my mind every single time. So thank you to everybody in the chat, whoever sees us in the future. Yeah, I think that openness is sort of the heart of any sort of humility and not knowing, right? Like, I think we did mention humility a few times, and I think the sort of old paradigm of that is shrinking yourself. We're not about shrinking yourself. It's just knowing that I don't know. And we'll see where we get. So thank y'all, and that's all I got. Thank you very much. Y'all are great.
Awesome, David. Thank you so much, man. I don't know if you saw it, dude. We were cracking up there during some parts there, like just watching everyone, just listening to you. I just love, again, just like the raw honesty is just incredibly needed and refreshing, and yeah, and again, I think that's a great thing to be reminded of as leaders, that even in the best laid plans, there are still going to be moments where we're just like, I don't know what's going to happen next. And to actually be able to drop into that with a place of into the place of trust is actually something so powerful. And so I think that in itself is a place where we can direct people to in terms of leadership. You know, what if we could literally help lead people to being able to trust the process, to be able to trust their intuition, to be able to trust how things are unfolding? I think when we do that, that allows us to really be able to kind of like relax into those moments, or really just be able to shift our paradigms in those uncertain circumstances. So many things that came up there, and this is just like a side note. I don't know why, for some reason, this just like, I just realized this, but you know, talking about leadership and leading, for some reason, it just clued into me that the word leading the base word of that is lead, and we're talking about this whole thing of alchemy and transforming lead into gold, and I don't think that's actually like an intentional thing. Like, I don't know whether the word leading has to do with lead, but it's there, and I just thought that was really interesting. The idea that leading begins with lead, and it is moving us into new planes, into new directions, into new regions, into new spaces within ourselves. You know, it is the alchemical process. At this point, for everybody here, we're just going to get into freestyle discussion. Everybody who is in the Zoom call has spoken. Shout out to Adrian. Adrian was in here, but he jumped off a little bit earlier. I'll have to get you guys introduced to him. He's a super awesome, like, dance Jedi, like, straight up. That's no exaggeration. That's what he is. And from here, we're just going to get into a little bit of popcorn style discussion, like I said. So without any, again, let's just kind of like practice leading by just being able to tap into our heart and just being able to see what is coming through us, what the universe wants to be able to communicate in this moment. And so I think for me, you know, a couple things I was thinking of when David was talking about, and a couple things from earlier, and I'll just mention this real quick, and then if anybody wants to jump in, just put your hand up, just let me know. But basically this idea that being a leader is also, again, let's just take a moment to be able to dial in on the student aspect of being a leader, because I think being a leader is, again, you know, being a good student, and being a good student means paying attention to the lessons that are at hand and making sure that we're doing the work. And so it's one of those things where, especially if we're in a place where we're showing up in community and we're showing up in front of others, how we show up in those moments begins when no one else is watching. So this is a very powerful idea. Be a leader even when no one is watching. And so be a leader in how you commit yourself to being able to consciously bring more awareness to the ways in which you are showing up as a student and the ways that you are learning. In particular, just to help you comprehend this, literally see yourself as a student of the universe, but just to help you visualize it, imagine that you're back in grade 9 or something like that, and the universe, aka your teacher, is giving you homework, is speaking at the front of the class. Are you paying attention? Are you taking notes? Are you doing the assignments? Are you completing things on schedule? All of those things. And I can see some of us are just like, nope, not me. That wasn't me, you know? But anyways, but nonetheless, that concept, that analogy is something that I think we can apply in the process of kind of like what David was saying, is constantly being in this habit of reflection. And even at the end of the day, take that moment for yourself to lead you into that space, to really be able to sit and just be like, what did I learn today? What did I feel today? Where can I make some changes tomorrow? What was I vulnerable about? Where did I feel I might have failed? And even the idea of failing, I think a great leader that I was able to work with back in the day used this phrase of fail forwards. Failure is inevitable. We will fail, but how we relate to failure is something that we can shift. So we have this idea that, you know, failure is like the worst thing that could ever possibly happen, and you want to avoid it at all costs. But what if we just acknowledge the idea, kind of what we were talking about earlier with Sifu and the light bulb, that as we fail, we learn. So how do we take the lessons as a student from our quote unquote failures and fail forward, lean into the future, become better at something because we figured out more about it by learning about the ways that maybe it didn't work. And that's okay. It's okay to be able to make mistakes and to learn and to grow. But again, to be able to hold that intention within your heart. And again, this goes back to being responsible and doing the work. The other thing that I just wanted to be able to say, but we can talk more about this later. And if somebody wants to jump in on anything, again, just go ahead and pop your hand up at some point. I'll pass over to Zentia in 2 seconds. This is just an example of other forms of leadership, which I'll share as an example using myself, but more so just as a microcosm for the macrocosm. Back in the day, pre-COVID times, before CV or something like that, I feel like we need to label a term for this. We might as well, right? Before COVID times, a big thing that I was really into was doing free hugs and going out in my community and literally going downtown, like on bar night, putting myself in like the craziest chaotic situations and standing there on a street corner with a free hug sign and leading in that moment by being able to create a space and a portal and an invitation. I was leading people into a space where they were invited to be able to connect with me in that moment, to engage with a free hug if they chose, to be able to have that heart-to-heart connection, and then for them to be able to have permission to do the same. For them to be able to say like, whoa, like this is really inspiring. Like, dude, like people are going to think you're crazy. And then, you know, in that little context, you know, it's like, it's the crazy ones that will change the world. Crazy is a matter of perspective from those who are in, you know, a paradigm that perhaps may be quite boxed in. Is it crazy to show compassion and to give free hugs and to meet people with smiles and to have conversations with strangers? If it is, then yeah, I'm all for it. I'll be that kind of crazy, because that's the kind of crazy that this world needs. So again, you know, maybe sometimes it's the words and the language and the expectations and the preconceived notions that people are projecting, and oh, what will they think of us, and oh, I can't do this because no one else is doing it, and oh, this is, you know, all of these things. But for me, when I would go out there, and this is what I'm hitting upon, when I would go out there and really listen to my own intuition, and the universe was basically saying, go out there tonight and do free hugs. Just give it a go. Kind of what David was saying. There were times where literally I would be in a mood where, like, sometimes I would be like, yo, I'm all for it. Let's go. It's like jumping out of a parachute, like jumping out of a plane. I'm going in, boots on the ground, you know, like Light Guardian style. I'm all for it. And then there are other times where I would just kind of be like, you know, just kind of like, I don't know. Like today I'm just kind of not feeling it. And there were days where maybe if I really wasn't feeling it, I would just be not today. But then there were those days where I was feeling the push and the universe was just like, just trust, just do it. Just go for it. You've done this before. You can do this again. And then it was in those days when I would go out there and when I would do free hugs that literally within like 5 minutes of me being there, someone would come and they'd share a hug with me in that moment, and it would be more meaningful to them than I could possibly comprehend or imagine. For them, they might be like, oh, this is like the first hug I've received in 4 months or something like that. And then for me to be able to engage in a conversation and to give them a shift button, that would be the thing. I would do a free hug and I would give them a button, I would give them a gift, and that links them into the project. And those buttons are on our shop. Again, I'm not plugging it here, but just they're tools. You can literally do this. I've created those tools for people to do it. But in that context, it's this idea that, you know, sometimes our leadership will lead us into a place that is much more about everyone else than it is for us. For us, it's going to be something, but for somebody else, it may be the most important thing in the world. And if that's the case, then that is how we change the world, by changing their world, one world at a time, one person at a time. And so even again, going back to even, you know, a few of you were mentioning this earlier, you know, just kind of echoing on the space that we've created here as a community. It's this idea of just kind of showing that yes, one person can make a difference. One person can create a ripple that will make a wave. One person can change someone's life. One person can, again, as we said right from the start, help lead people back to the wisdom of their own heart. So if you're listening to this broadcast and you're thinking about, if you're getting inspired by this, I invite you to be able to sit with that question of, how can I help lead people back to their hearts? How can I do it through my art? How can I do it through my communication? How can I do it through my listening? How can I do it through my expression and my dance and my creativity and my passions? How can I do it by taking care of myself? So those were just a couple things that I wanted to just be able to reiterate there. Again, you know, just making sure that we are doing the work as leaders. That's so important. Leading even when no one's looking. And then again, really being able to feel the inspiration of knowing that when we are called to be able to step into those places to inspire people, we literally become a portal and a beacon for synchronicity that will change other people's lives in more ways than we know. And even though we might not be out there doing free hugs quite in the same way, we can still get out there with signs that free smiles and free air hugs. And that's something that I'm like leaning towards. I've really been feeling the call to be able to do more of that and to be able to get myself back out there. Not only is it something that I really value, but again, I'm curious. I'm curious to see what it will do for the community. But I know, again, there are going to be people that are going to be like, whoa, like this is a glimmer of hope in some sort of crazy world that we're in right now. We need that. When the shadow looms, the light will rise. And that is where we are. So if you see the shadow looming, look to where you can bring light into it. in the little ways and the big ways. So I just wanted to be able to put that out there, and hopefully me saying that maybe just encourages you to just be able to remind yourself of the power that you already have. And that power is the power of the heart. That power is the heart, which is the power to be able to transmute shadow into light, to be able to bring hope into the world, to inspire people, and to give them a space where they feel seen and heard and celebrated and loved and a part of something bigger, to return them back to that wisdom. So if you guys resonate with this, go ahead, drop those 1111s in the chat. Let's keep moving through. Go ahead. Who else here wants to just be able to jump in? There's a few people have jumped off and stuff, so it's a little bit more of a smaller group, but we'll just keep chit-chatting for probably about like 25 minutes, and then we'll get close to wrapping it up. If anybody wants to just jump in off of what I said, or if you guys just have some more stuff, go ahead. David, I'll pass it over to you. Go right ahead, Dave, when you're ready. Take no problem, David, and make sure you got yourself unmuted there first.
Sorry, I was gonna say sorry.
No problem. Go for it.
So I really kind of want to go back to something that I think Tash hit on, which was something that really resonated with me, is that you do not know the impact that you're having at all. I think all of us can relate at least one time of having somebody come up completely unexpected, because a lot of the time, especially this year, you know, you're not getting out and seeing other folks, you're interacting with people in comments, but that's still this sort of virtual energy. But having somebody come up to you in real life, I remember one of the first times after I was sort of sharing on Instagram, which was a really small circle of just like, you know, people you know and stuff. I had somebody come up and say, you know, wow, you know, that I literally probably one of the people that I would say is maybe one of the most cynical people that I ever met, was like, yo, you dropped a video the other day and I just needed that. Thank you. And I literally had that sort of, I think Tash was like that quarter, like, I don't, okay, good, yeah, moment. And I've become a lot more comfortable with that. But I remember, just for anybody who's curious about being a conscious leader, there's this sort of old, and I don't know, I think it's very cliche, because where I grew up, everybody had this poster in their house, and it's this starfish poster, and it's just this story of this kid walking across a big old beach throwing starfish, and they're like, and somebody comes by and is essentially saying, hey man, you know, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm helping the starfish out. And the guy's like, there are millions of starfish on this beach, you can't, what do you hope to do? And he's like, you know, I made a difference to that one. And I think so much of my journey, as well as all of ours, is like, yo, like, I just remember feeling so lost, so horrified, so empty, and having one person coming across like on a random day an Aaron Doughty video on YouTube or something, and that just being like, oh, I'm not alone, and that being enough for me. So just, if you affecting one person, I think it was a TikTok I also saw, somebody's like, yo, like, you're not talking to however many thousands of people on TikTok, you're talking to one person. That's it. That's all you're talking to. And you're gonna make a difference to one person, and that's enough. And for me, whenever, even especially with the nature of TikTok and the viral shenanigans of that thing, you don't know what that algorithm's gonna do one day. And some days you might end up with a bunch of followers one day. Other days they may not like put your video out at all. And if you're so caught up with that, and so it's easy to get sucked into, oh, well, now I'm talking to 50,000 people. Oh, now I'm talking, but it's like, no, it's still just one person. And that's enough. One starfish. So if that inspires you to do anything, be anything, please, you matter to me. I've come across so many creators who have like 700 followers where I'm just like, thank you for doing that. Changes my life. So if you have anything to say, say it.
Beautifully said. I love that. It, man, brought back some memories there of that starfish poster or whatever it was. So, right? I'm just like, I know that one. Cool. All right, Zentia, I'm going to pass over to you. I apologize, Zentia. For some reason, I didn't pass it to you there, but maybe there was a reason for it. I don't know. Well, let's just go
Always
forward.
a reason.
Okay, go ahead,
It's
Zentia.
the process. So I kind of wanted to piggyback off of David and Z. Well, kind of a personal story for me. A couple weeks ago, some cyberbullying happened, and I took a week off. Well, kind of a week. It was 11/11, so I couldn't take a full week. You guys know I had to come back for that podcast. But other than that, I had kind of taken the space to myself. And what David was talking about, catching yourself in that moment, I kind of freaked out. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I'm working so hard. And as a conscious creator, I don't think that people understand that like you guys were saying, just because we're pushing out this positivity doesn't mean we don't have a life. We don't have an origin story, something revolving in the background. And as people come to attack your light, when you're trying to, bring other people's lives forward, just stay strong and knowing that you have a community like this, that you have people like that with you. And a lot of times people are attacking your light because they simply can't find their own. And that is their soul reaching out to your bright light, really asking for help in that moment. I am in this place and you are in that place. So kind of going off of what Khadaura said, if you can transform, and Brendon too, if you can alchemize that energy within even the people who are trying to hurt you in that moment, it's extremely powerful to have somebody who hates you for no reason. Eventually, like, I can't hate you. You've helped. I've hated you enough, and now I've just found my way to some of the information you were. For me, some of the information I was giving just happened to help this person on their journey. So she just kind of was like, I'm sorry. I got an apology. And I wanted to, I'll probably say shrink down in the moments of the bullying and kind of, you think, well, why am I doing this work? I work so hard. I put all this out. Why? The connecting with one person, the alchemy, the transformational process that you're sharing, that other people are getting to connect to, feeds the planet. So that's one thing to think about. Curtis was talking about reversing what's happening here. As what's happening to Gaia before we travel out into space. If we are sitting in these spaces enough, as every thought comes out, we are, as conscious creators, recreating this planet, creating that 5D space with every person that we help, with every message that we put out. And it's a really beautiful thing. If you, soon, this eclipse coming, or 2021, the energy of Jupiter and Saturn, right? And the Aquarius energy, it hasn't been here for 760 years. As conscious creators, us stepping into a space, an astrological space that won't reappear for another 760 years. Let's harness that love coming out of the cosmos and integrate it into ourselves and into the, our light consciousness that we're working with here, our bodies, our minds, our soul. Push it out and receive it. Let the ebb and flow come in. So no matter what part of your journey you're on, what numbers you're at, whether you have people loving you, whether you have people who are still trying to figure out what you're doing, again, as everyone else said, keep going. Know that you have a community. There's a home here for everybody. No judgment, I swear. If you're listening to this later, we're open arms, open hearts here. And there's more spaces like this all over the place, popping up everywhere. So let's just keep this going, guys. Love, peace, and pineapples.
Love, peace, and pineapples. Beautiful. I want some pineapple juice now. Awesome. Thank you, Zentia. Yes, I think, again, that's just really reminding me. And again, anybody else, if you guys just want to jump in, just let me know here. I'll just keep talking until somebody else is ready to go. Sheena, did you want to jump in? Who wants to jump? Z wants to jump in? Okay, like you guys are pointing, but I think the screens are always different. So I'm just like, which way am I going? Pass over to Z next. Is that what Z wanted to do? Okay, so one thing I was just going to reiterate is the idea of the importance of being gentle. I think being gentle is always such an important thing. And that's the thing. Like sometimes leadership, it's going to look a lot of different ways in a lot of different contexts. And I think that's always the idea, is reminding ourselves that leadership is context relative, meaning that you yourself will have different versions of leadership. So another thing to keep in mind is that as leaders, as teachers, one of the skills that we can develop is our ability to be able to change the way we're communicating depending on who we're communicating to. This is kind of going back to even like Einstein talked about this idea of being able to take a complex idea and explain it simply. So if you're communicating to, someone who's already in the same echo chamber as you talk to them one way. If you were to talk to someone who may be brand new to an idea, you talk in a different way and you'd lead them into that information. So being able to adjust our versions of leadership depending on the context that we are in. And so again, in some cases, leadership, it's going to look like, for me, this goes back to the archetypes that I carry inside of me. It's going to be a general of an army leading men into war and like holding a sword and pointing, and a lot of that fire energy and driving force. and then other times leadership is going to be very soft, and it's going to be very quiet, but it's going to be very attentive and patient and gentle, as I said, So sometimes one of the best ways to be able to engage with leadership is just being able to really be able to show up softly for people. Again, it's always going to be relative. So I think that's the idea, is that as leaders, it is us getting good, as I said, to be conduits of consciousness, emissaries of consciousness in each moment, to be able to reflect what is needed right now. And then again, going back to the wisdom of the heart, as we are in tune with that, as we know ourselves, we are able to be able to hear that wisdom and then to be able to embody it and enact it into the world. And that's something that takes practice. So again, I think as leaders, one of the best things that we can do is to put ourselves in opportunities to be able to practice leadership, opportunities that may be outside of our comfort zone, and then to give ourselves the opportunity to be able to see how we show up in those moments. That for me has been a big experience of the year. Honestly, I've facilitated more of these circles than I can count, both online and physical. Like the amount, literally, like just to be able to give you guys context, every Friday for about 8 or 9 years in my city, I was leading discussion circles. And for me, it was great to do that. I got to connect with my friends. But after I would do those meetings, it would always really help me get more clarity on who I am and who I was becoming. And I would almost kind of see myself from a third person, which I'm sure other people can do, where you kind of, you're in the moment and you just kind of show up. And then after the moment happens, you kind of look back and you're just like, whoa, that was pretty cool. Like what I did there. Like it was very natural in the moment. And then to just even like have like a little bit of pride about how you showed up, to even like give yourself a little bit of a round of applause and to be able to say like, you did really good there. Like that was outside of your comfort zone. How did that feel? And that's where, again, even within our community as conscious creators, this is why it's so important, excuse me, to literally, in the community, in the context of the story that we're creating in the community, we've created the role of leading members. That role is very intentional. The word is very intentional. But one of the things I love about it within our community is, as one example amongst many, is the team meditations that we do. Quick side note, Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, links are through our Discord. But for example, for some of the leading members, we create that space. As me being the leader of the project, I invite others to assist me in creating the space where we show up with a schedule and a routine, and we practice holding space for each other, and in particular, the person who is leading that team meditation, especially if they have never done that before. So this is where it's really exciting when we see leading members on the team do their first guided team meditation, and they're just like, whoa, like for the longest time, I thought that was impossible. I never thought I would be able to do it. And then when we hold that loving space, we give opportunity for spirit to kind of like come in and come through them in that moment. And then by the time they're done, they're just like, whoa, I did it. And if I can do it once, I can do it again. So I think leadership is being able to put yourself in uncomfortable situations, give yourself the opportunity to show up. And then as you do, that gives you the acknowledgement to be able to say, I can do that. And if I did it once, I can do it again. So leadership is over time about building this confidence through the engagements and the experience. And again, that's where I'm so humbled and honored to be able to share the wisdom that I carry through 10 years of leading community, to be able to help assist other people in being able to step into their roles as leaders as well, and to give them the space and the opportunity to invite them into those places where they're just like, whoa, I never thought I would be, facilitating sacred space and doing live broadcasts. And yet here we are, because we've created a space where as community we're celebrating and we're encouraging. So again, as leaders, as a leader of a collective, as a leader of community, being able to create a space where people feel safe, supported, encouraged, and loved is so important. And then at that point, you give them a little bit of direction as need be, and you invite them to play, you invite them to learn, you invite them to be vulnerable. And you don't, and if there are things after the fact, you're not going to say, hey, you did this wrong. If anything, from a leadership perspective, you say, you acknowledge what they did in terms of being able to say like, hey, that was awesome. And for next time, if you want to be able to just like do a little bit of tweaks, here's some things that you can do differently. And so even as a leader, even within the project, I'll never give someone a piece of insight or advice or feedback without giving them an alternative for maybe something else that they can kind of like move towards. So I'll never just say, oh, you did that wrong. I would just be like, hey, like, just so you know, like, here's a little bit of some tweaks. And then next time, and again, and it's coming from like me just wanting to do it so that they can continue to refine and become the best versions of themselves. And so again, like, as leaders, even just think about the role of like a coach on a sports team. Why is the coach there? The coach isn't there to be, like the one who has all of this knowledge and then does nothing with it. They're there to share. They're there to watch people make mistakes and then to be able to help them along the way. Hey, here's how you kick a soccer ball. Here's how you shoot a hockey puck. Here's how you do stick handling. Here's how you do all of these little things that I've been fortunate to be able to learn. So as leaders, it is our duty to be able to receive, to literally acknowledge that the wisdom and the experience that we gain over time becomes a gift that we can share with others. And so I think one of the powerful things in terms of looking at the collective leadership that we are moving into is this idea that when more of us consciously share our wisdom, it begins to break cycles where people who are getting onto the path who may be new don't have to go through the same pitfalls or the same lessons quite in the same way we will. They'll still go through lessons, but whereas something might have taken us 2 years to learn, they might figure it out in a week, because we're there to be able to say, here, hey, I was in a similar situation from you. Here's what helped. Here's what you can do. And if you want some support along the way, let me know. But you let them do it. And you remind them in confidence that they are capable of doing that, because there is nothing that the universe doesn't give them that they aren't capable of handling, that they aren't capable of learning and growing through. And so you just kind of hold space for them to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to be vulnerable, and I'm going to give this a shot, and I'm going to learn, and I'm going to become stronger along the way, because every great challenge is training for the next one. And so again, just being able to give them that vision, give them that hope, give them that perspective. Again, being a leader is shifting someone's paradigm towards one of empowerment. So anyways, did that resonate with you guys? Does that make sense? Is this getting you guys all pumped up to be leaders and everything like that? Feeling loved, feeling supported? Yeah, man. All right. Who wants to jump in next? Did Z, you want to jump in next, didn't you? Okay, Z, we'll pass over to you. And then from there, again, I'm not too worried about the time, but we'll get this wrapped up in about 20 minutes, give or take. So Z, when you're ready, go right ahead.
So I was listening to Zentia, and you reminded me of a conversation that happened a long time ago, as Vivio was being created. But you were like, why is it so hard on TikTok to get these messages out, or Instagram, etc.? And that was the question that I had too. If there's a blessing in everything, which is really fucking annoying sometimes, really trying to figure out. But so what I came to conclude was, we had to be trained on how to manipulate our messaging in order to penetrate different audiences. That is what these platforms have set us up to do. That is what, in a way, the Matrix has set us up to do. So, and that's a goal, like with the conscious leadership, like how Brendon communicates is something I look up to, because that he does that, he can do that. And that's with all of the work that we do. With our clients or whomever we're speaking with, that's inherently an underlying goal is like to be able to communicate what our message is. Oh no, no. My iPad, I've never used my iPad before for one of these calls. I'm like,
Still good.
okay. Yeah. So when you were talking about that, I was like, because it's frustrating. Like I could be angry all day long about how, you know, the hashtag natural immunity is censored right now, you know, like there's so many things that I could be upset about in that way, and how our messaging doesn't get across. But it forces us to become creative. If, you know, that's probably why Brendon makes these like wallpapers and makes these reels the way he does, right? And adding flair to it so it expands and it gets engagement. And that creativity is what actually you know, overall adds to the goal, which is like to penetrate the world and actually shift paradigms, because more people are awakening to this type of information or whatever. So it's hard, but so there's that. It's like, okay, cool, we can talk about how it's, you know, a good thing that it's hard. But for me, it's like, wow, I get to take these people who have trained themselves for years on how to create their messaging and put them on a platform that actually is going to empower the fuck out of them, where they can take all the skills that they've learned and like soar with it. Like that to me is like, oh shit, brainwave. Like it was a conversation I had a long time ago, but I was like, man, it's so true. Like it's one thing to have people who are, you know, what I mean is like having people who have these skill sets, you know, the fact that Brendon's here creating conscious creators, you know, actually cool thing. You know how the word influencer, so there's a lot of like conscious creation in terms of the verbiage we use. So, you know, instead of we have followers, or we change the word to tribe, you know, and then you can see who's following not. That was fun. It was like, we call them vibers, like, but how do you know who's following you or not? Like it was kind of hard. But and another word is influencer, right? And that's something that kind of has like this negative connotation to it. We changed it to the word creator. So when you have like a check mark on Vimeo, you're a video creator. You're a creator, you know, instead of just an influencer. And this is so important in that way. And that's what. And then Boggy told me the other day, he was like, Brendon wants to be the Sifu of creators. I was like, you realize like we just made this shift on Vimeo too, about like, because we're still setting up all these nuances. And what is it like, what are you guys learning how to do? Like the skills to create, and what is the primary mode of communication, especially for Gen Z, which is largely the market using this like social media platforms? Video based content. Okay, video based content is how to share your story, how to share your vibe, and get your messaging across the most. So this is the place to learn how to create that content, to get those skills, to get your messaging right, because your messaging is not just for us, you know. I so like the idea of like this echo chamber thing is a problem for everyone. That's why evil people exist, because they're in their own echo chamber. They think they're doing something that for their loved ones and from their heart too, to some degree, you know. There's people who think going and defending their country and killing everyone is like a good thing because it's protecting them, you know. Like they all have their own programming, right? So echo chambers create that. How do we solve, you know, this is where we are penetrating other echo chambers with our own, because we're forced to adapt our messaging because of these fucked up platforms, which it's okay, because we have to be thankful for them too. That's why we connected. As much as I'm competitive to these other social media platforms, I always, you know, people, oh my gosh, especially when people are like, social media is ruining the world, and they are using social media to like talk about this. It's like, oh, do you realize the irony here? So yeah, I'm super thankful for social media. I'm super thankful for you guys, like, and the messaging that brought you guys here and together in the space again. Okay, anyways, yes, Brendon, I can see you.
No, that's fine. It's all right. Just clear my throat there. Z, thank you again. And yeah, that's again, just there's honestly a part of me is just like, it's just like, could this be a 5-hour broadcast? Like it probably could. It's not going to be, but it probably could. Because again, there's, you know, even in this space, there's things that I just want to be able to pass on and just share some tidbits. And again, if anybody else, just go ahead, let me know when you guys want to jump in, and it doesn't have to be a response. It can just be whatever you feel is coming through in the heart right now. But one thing I would just share from personal experience and wisdom, and again, not just my own, but so there we go, press the wrong button. But wisdom that I've you know, acquired through my own experience, but again, wisdom that has also been passed on through others. One of the great traits of leadership, if we were to just kind of think about that, you know, like what traits do leaders have? What traits do great leaders have? One of the great traits of leaders is flexibility, adaptability. And so I think in that context, it's really, really important to be able to, you know, be a person that, you know, adapts and overcomes. And so any other person, if there's like a crappy situation or something didn't quite go to plan, they would be like, oh, well, there goes the plan. A leader would be able to say like, no, we still have an objective. What's plan B? What's plan C? What's plan D? How do we go to where we're going? Well, maybe taking a different route, knowing that it wasn't going to be the original plan that we thought it was. So it's almost kind of like a art of war, Zen wisdom there. And again, and also being a leader is about being resourceful and utilizing the tools we have. Kind of what Z was saying in relation to social media. Social media is a tool. It is a tool. And it is how we use it. Again, you know, like a hammer is a tool. It can build a house or you can destroy a fence with it. You know, a mask is a mask. It can be something to protect your health or it can be a muzzle. But again, you know, all of these things in these contexts of just kind of being able to understand that the tools and how we use them is going to be affected by the intention that we are utilizing them towards. So this is where being able to really look at the resources that you have. You have access to social media. You have access to Instagram and our community and Discord. And this is where, again, you know, for me, I'm as a leader, I'm like, okay, what's the best way that I can help my team and our community right now to lead us towards this objective? And straight up, my vision, amongst many visions, there's multiple kind of parallel objectives happening here, but one of the objectives is to literally be able to help over 100 fellow conscious creators become self-sustained in doing what they do for a living. Meaning 100 people who are conscious creators who are earning income and creating awesome content and serving community. And that is possible. That is something that's possible. So for me, having that target helps me figure out the steps along the way. And so I think even as a leader, being able to have the vision and the target and where you're moving people towards is super important for you to be able to maintain that consistency in figuring out the steps as you go. You won't figure them out all at a time, but if you can at least know that's where we're going, then the universe will kind of work through you in that moment and be able to say, here's the next step. Here's the next step. Here's the next step. You're not going to take 50 steps at once. You're only going to take one step at a time. Don't get worried about the 50th step. Focus on the next step. And so again, that applies even for the people tuned in right now, our community, our fellow conscious creators. If you're just kind of thinking, it'd be like, oh, okay, you know, like I'd love to be an entrepreneur. I'd love to be a, you know, conscious media creator. And then to just be able to say like, okay, well, what's that first step? Maybe that first step is just going to be brainstorming the topics that I'm really passionate about talking about. And maybe that next step is going to be asking someone for feedback. And maybe that next step is going to be taking that leap and spending time to be able to play around with the app and make that first video. And then from there, maybe it's going to be doing a live. And then maybe from there, it's going to be jumping on a Zoom call and doing all of these things and using your resources and investing in yourself in this way. So yeah, being a leader is so many things. And I think of that quote from Bruce Lee, again, a leader in his own right, of you know, like pointing towards the moon. And it's like, don't get distracted by the finger. Look towards the moon. When you see a person pointing, when you see a person leading, look towards where they're leading you. And like the what's in front of you is going to be secondary to where it is that you are going, but where it is that you are is obviously going to be very, very important. So I think as leaders, it's great for us right now to be able to utilize the tools that we have to be able to create the best version and visions for the future, and to really be able to help anchor in those visions. One thing I was going to say earlier, and I kind of forgot about it, but I'll just mention it real quick. And again, just let me know when as soon as you guys want to jump in, I'll just pass it over. So otherwise, I'm just going to keep babbling here. If that's what I've been training to do this. I can babble on. That's why they call me Skull Babylon, in case that wasn't obvious. Sort of, kind of, yes, why not? But anyways, what I was going to say, this is actually a really powerful idea, and part of me almost wants to put this right at the start of the broadcast, but that's okay. Here we are now. Time is relevant. It's all toroidal loop anyways. We as community can help lead by being able to help show people what a vision of the future can look like through community connection. what does heart-centered community look like? And this is it. This is it. This broadcast is it. You guys doing your own broadcast, you guys doing your own communities, that is it. The particular vision that comes to mind, specifically when I'm thinking of this, I'm thinking of transformational festivals that I've been to over the years where people literally get together with the intention to be able to create like almost like a temporary village and community, and we set up tents in the woods, and we have volunteers, and we have a kitchen, and all the people are contributing and supporting. And the bigger vision of this is people living off the land and living in nature. Like, imagine everybody here, I just want you to kind of like hold this vision in your head, in your heart, and feel it, because I can feel it so true as something that I want to be able to experience again. And this is where, even as a leader, a part of me is like, it's like this like super kind, loving, kind-hearted person, but at the same time it's very wolf-like in the sense that I will fight for something in whatever way I need to in order to be able to help create something that is very important to me, that is about serving community and everything like that. So what I mean by this is, envision this idea within your heart, this vision of New Earth 2020. And we'll talk more about this on the podcast and everything. But imagine this idea of being able to like live in this like community with people close to nature, living off the land, living and connecting, dancing, celebrating, having fires, sharing art, listening to music, raising children, having a kitchen, volunteering, all of these beautiful, beautiful things. Like this, I feel, is like a part of us that we want. Like we want that. And so again, with a conversation that will unfold more into the future, that's something that, yes, the online aspect and all we're doing here is so important. But I feel that, if we can start just kind of helping embody and just hold that vision within our heart of imagining, new ways of forming heart-centered community, both digitally and physically, that is so powerful. And just showing people what that can look like as well, So if you want an example of what that looks like, go check out the movies that I did, the Journey to Lucidity movies, the 3 Days of Light movie. Some of you watched us do the premiere or the viewing of that. You have an example. But yes, we as a community need each other, and we are designed to thrive, and we are designed to be able to be in these like loving, heart enriching spaces and connecting with nature and being in celebration and being in creative expression. And that, for me, like, I want that. And it may take a little bit of time, but that for me is like, as a soul, it's like, get back to that. That's home. That's Eden. That's us living in connection with the land and celebrating and creating art and living as sovereign beings and being supported and being loved and just being in this abundant, heart-centered space in a way that, honestly, it's a version of love some people have not even experienced it before. They don't even know it's possible. I've experienced it. I know it's there, and I hold a vision for it. And if you resonate with it, I invite you to hold it too. And, let's work towards it. And in the meantime, knowing that, yes, that can still be something we're working towards. But right now, what is needed right now, right now, let's check in with each other. Let's practice mindfulness. Let's talk about things. Let's expand our consciousness. Let's hold space for those who are new. Let's have little conversations like these, take things one step at a time, and inspire the leaders within all of us. This is my last part. I'll just say here, and then I'll pass it to whoever wants next. David, did you want to go next, or who else wanted to jump in? You guys let me know. When I created this vision, then, this was like, it's like the universe basically just saying, like, here, Brendon, here's your mission. This is what you signed up for. In the same way it did for you and for you and for you and for you. But a big part of this vision was this idea of knowing that there were big things that needed to happen, big solutions that needed to come through. And I acknowledge the fact that I didn't know what those solutions were. I don't know what all of those solutions were. But what I do know is important is that when we bring people together from the heart with intention, that those solutions will naturally arise within us. And when you share that story and you invite people into that space and just say, step one, gather together as intentional community. And then out of that, the solutions arise. That is a very, very powerful idea. And again, just gives us a little bit more of a direction and taking it one step at a time and really moving into like this beautiful vision of the future and we need it. We need it right now. So we're doing it. This is a version of it right here and now. This is an echo of the new earth energy that we're creating right here and now. So let's keep working on that together. So cool. Shout out to anybody who's watching this on Z's video in the future or something like that. So see you're filming me. Anyways, all right, okay. Let's we still got, there's just 4 of us right now. Thank you again to everybody for being here. Tash just jumped out. Thank you again to Tash. Any other closing thoughts? And then we'll wrap this up. Did this inspire the leader inside you? Or are you guys inspired to just be able to be like, yes, I feel the call. Like that is, the call of the light guardians, the light workers, the call to action, the call to love, the call to service, the call to be a leader within this story, to be a leader within your own life, and to lead from the heart, to lead with love. Z, did you want to jump in? Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
This was dope as fuck. Okay, and I've also I was messaging Khadaura after, and I was like, and Sufi, and he was like, "You're afraid to let all of yourself show still. It's obvious because I have so much like experience with the darkness, and I'm still afraid to like." He's like, and Sifu Bagi's like, "You scare people. That's why." And I was like, "I know I scare people. It's true." So it's so. I just wanted to say, like, for me, that there's so much cultivation happening here. Speaking with you guys, because I've only interacted with people not from these type of communities. I've like come on my own like conclusions and everything, and for me, like, conscious leadership in the tech space, like people who are in charge of technological companies are engineers. Okay, that's the norm. Me being a naturopathic medical doctor leading a technology solution is actually completely fucking radical, and something to like that's going uphill against the grain, right? And I've had to argue my case. And to what Brendon is saying, in this new earth energy creation, I'm like, hey, do we really need another engineer running the world, or do we need a healer? Okay, and do we need a healer who understands how technology can be used in its creation? Again, you would think it's for us, it's like, duh, that makes sense. For the rest of the world, a naturopathic medical doctor creating a social media platform, what? No, that doesn't make any sense, and in a way that's actually negative. So it's crazy. Here it's empowering. Here in this community, it's like that makes a whole lot of shit. Go you, girl. In the outside world, to venture capitalists, to like financiers or bank people or just like startup people, it's a total mind fuck. Okay, this is where conscious leadership needs to come into play, because guess what my arguments are? Hey, what do you think the world needs more of right now? A place for people to just connect online, or like healing? Guess what? This is a creation just like all of ours that is centered on healing and connecting with the heart, and that is the radical change we're bringing to the world in every industry across every component, right? But it's just crazy because the fact that it's so radical in the I'm gonna call this like our bubble and then the outside world. Okay, like it's so radical in the outside world, and it blows my mind that it's so radical, and then that's where my colleague comes out, where I'm like, rawr, no, fuck you, like, no, this is it. Okay. And I like that he mentioned Kali before, because that's totally my vibe. Like I like to channel Kali and do yes. And who is Kelly Lamb? We got another person in here. That's exciting.
Yeah, Kelly's just joining right now. A little bit of a surprise guest at the end of the broadcast. So
hello, Kelly. How are you? I want to meet you.
We'll pass it to Kelly in a second. Thank you. And awesome. Welcome, Kelly. Z, is there anything else you just on that note?
No, it's just examples of like being a conscious leader, and how it's actually something that works towards you, even when it's like completely radical in the outside world. Like to be like, hey, I had to speak with a PR agency about Vibio, and like we're writing releases for it and things of that nature. And it's just like, the people talk about how competitive the space is, right? And it's just like, yeah, but are you actually empowering the most, human aspect of all creatures across the board? Like, what is TikTok or Instagram doing? They're exploiting the heart. Okay, they are using the desire to express, which is innate to all of us, and exploiting it, right? So how can we take this desire to express to connect? That's why do we post on social media? Why? It's to express and connect. That's it. That's literally it. Okay. And how can we, and then shifting the consciousness around social media to actually feeling empowered by it, to like, instead of like these other instances where it's for profitability, where it's for engagement views, etc., all these things, and bringing that conscious leadership role in, where you're like, people can't argue you anymore. That's the power I have found, whether it's numbers, whether it's, you know, business model, whatever it is that they throw. It's like, yeah, but how do you feel about your family this year? How do you feel about your job? How do you feel about, like, the schools are shut? How do you feel about the collective trauma happening in the world? It shifted everyone. And then like bringing in that conscious leadership now, like, it's crazy. It's just, I mean, I'm like blurbering right now. but yeah, anyways, please take it.
That's awesome. Yeah, Z, absolutely. I think that's incredibly important. And yeah, like, oh, what was I going to say specifically? There's something there that I was going to say. I guess it'll come back, but that's okay. Oh, no, this is what I'm going to say. And actually, this is good because it just kind of like segues into Kelly. What we are doing right now, for those of you tuned into this broadcast, if you're tuned into this broadcast, you are aligning with a very specific vibration that we are sending out right now. And again, this vibration is wanting the best for humanity, seeing each other as the many hues of mana, the humans that we are, the many colors of magic. And so understand that when your intention is in alignment with that collective vision of what it is that we're, you know, wanting to awaken consciousness, and you are, because you're tuned into this broadcast, that your actions and your calling and your inspiration is literally the universe doing what it can to help wake itself up. So in that sense, the universe wants you to succeed. Like, you have the wave of the universe's support behind you. It may not always feel like that, and at sometimes it's not supposed to feel like that. We have to be in those spaces where it's just like, oh, doubt and fear, but out of that we rise into trust and patience and courage. And so just kind of, again, you know, and I just think of Kelly and just kind of the work that Kelly's been doing and getting out so much wisdom about 5D consciousness and aliens and just multidimensional reality and existence and everything like that, and the amazing work Kelly's been doing. And again, knowing that all the work that Kelly's doing is literally the will of the universe enacting through her, in the same way it is the will of the universe enacting through us. So when you really feel this within your heart, trust that this is the universe doing what it can to help wake itself up, and the universe will continue to support you along that journey, despite the challenges and the bumps and the twists and turns along the way. So where there is a will, there is a way. And on the times where you may feel like you're uncertain, that's where community comes in. That's where we connect with people, we remind each other, and we bring ourselves back onto that path, and we don't have to do it alone. So Kelly, welcome to the broadcast. Thank you for jumping in, even if it's right near the end. Super appreciate you being here. And Kelly, again, we'll just give you a chance to briefly introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what conscious leadership means to you and anything else you'd like to bring to the circle. Welcome, Kelly.
Thank you, everyone, for having me. Sorry to be late. I had work, but I'm so glad I was able to make it. So for me, my journey as a spiritual content creator, it's literally my dream. It was literally my biggest dream that I ever had in my whole entire life, that I never knew that I wanted to have until I got to be homeless. And I was homeless and on the streets, literally in tent city. And I was borrowing people's phones. And this is how I got through these times, was listening to people like Gigi Young, Bridget Nielsen, all of these content creators. And I was having a spiritual awakening in the process. And through that, I was like, I want to be like them. I want to understand this. I wanted to understand the information. And then I wanted to be able to share it, because I was having all these experiences that I couldn't put it into words, but I knew once I had the time to be able to understand it, I would be able to put it into words and be able to get it out to people. And so I spent years of just experiencing the awakening, and it was a rough road, but I truly believe that it kind of set me up with how difficult my awakening was. It kind of set me up to be prepared for 2020, to be able to assist other people. We go through these things, these challenges in our lives as content creators, as spiritual beings, to not only get the right messages out, but as well as to keep in our own authentic selves. That's one of the keys to this whole process of being a content creator, is how to keep your authentic self in the process of being able to reach as many people as possible, because people want viral. They want things to be viral. And so, but I think that the subjects that we talk about should be more viral, because they're the most fascinating topics that you could possibly wrap your head around. And they are getting more possible. Exactly. It's getting more to be a mainstream thing, which is so cool. And you see more of these celebrities coming out and showing that they're light workers and expressing their spirituality. And that's the really cool thing about it. And, you know, I never in my life, even at that point of being homeless and knowing that I was going to somehow make, you know, be a content creator, never in my life would I have imagined that it would have given me so many opportunities that I have today. And to be able to reach so many people, to talk to so many people, to make awesome relationships.
This is why I don't.
And with that, it's really awesome. And I'm just so glad. And this awakening process, I wish I had a way. As one thing, as a spiritual content creator, there's so many people who want answers and they need help. And that's my main thing, is that I want to figure out ways of being able to help as many people as possible. And in the process, be able to make it so it's free for them. Because this spiritual awakening process, like, if I had like someone that I could actively talk to about this, and it would have been so much easier for me. And so that's kind of my goal for this next year too, is trying to, you know, still cultivate this community and grow it to the point where we can all be even closer to one another. Because I think that's really important, is this migration process of the spiritual awakening, everyone who's spiritually awakening, to get closer together, get more networked together, and also be able to, you know, have each other's support all the time. And it's happening, and it's growing by the day. So thank you so much, guys, for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Kelly, thank you so much for joining in and for the work that you've done and the many seeds that you've planted and the leadership that you provide in the community. I know a lot of people are inspired and look up to your content as well. And again, kind of what we were just saying here, you know, it's just like, you know, next week's podcast on alien disclosure, if Kelly's around for that, I'm sure we'll have more to be able to talk about there. But suddenly, you know, the content that Kelly's been talking about for the past like 8 or 9 months is going to be very, very relevant. And so suddenly everyone's going to start paying a little bit more attention there. So even then, you know, Kelly, the last several months for all of us here, literally, you know, the past from 2012 for the past 8 years, that was getting us ready for 2020. And what's 2020 getting us ready for? 2021. And so forth and so on and so on and so on. And we continue to move forward in this process. So Kelly, again, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for being a leader within this collective shift in consciousness. So beautiful team. All right, we're going to get close to the end of the broadcast, but for anybody else who just feels called to share, and even if we're just getting close to sharing any closing gratitude, that's okay. We've covered a lot of ground here. Z, you did have something you want to jump in, but David, also, I'll pass over to you. Z, what do you feel, Z? Pass over to David, or did you? Because that was like more in response to something Kelly said, I assume. Or did
No,
yeah?
no, I will. You're starting to pick up on me. I don't even raise my hand or anything. Like,
Well, you unmuted your microphone. I thought you were trying to jump. Okay, maybe I misread
Oh,
it.
no,
So
no, that
was that
was
an
my
accident?
phone.
Oh, that's what that was. Okay. Well, then
Damn it,
that
never
was yeah. Okay. All right. So we'll pass it over to David then. Is that okay? Cool.
Go for it.
David, pass it over to you, dude. Go ahead.
I'm about to head out, and I just wanted to express my gratitude to you, B, and you know, everybody here that was here, is here. Today was a interesting day for me in that it transformed into a day of renewal from other conscious leaders. I talked to Brendon earlier. I was like, I was on a long hike today with a friend of mine who I hadn't seen in a long time, who was, you know, and I had a schedule. I had content to make. I had things to do. And I was like, you know what? This is what's happening right now. And it was such a great renewal for me. And then getting back and really kind of having to kind of rush to get on this, it was once again still like a continuation of that. And I think, I don't know who expressed it, but a lot of the time we can get very sort of go, 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 go. And even sort of with, you know, your practices, it can be like, go, 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 like, all right, I'm going to do my thing. And I think something about having y'all and having these conversations and having conversations is renewing in a way that you just can't put, you know, a price on. And it's just been glorious. So I do have to leave, but thank y'all, man. This really did make my entire day in a way that was completely unexpected.
Awesome. David, so much gratitude to you, man. And again, just super honored for you to be here and excited about what it is that you're creating. So thank you again, man. Really appreciate it. So cool, man. All right, we'll be in touch. Awesome. All right. Okay. So with that said, team, we've accomplished a lot. This has been great. There's always more to talk about. So I'm sure as soon as I'll finish the broadcast, I'm sure I'll be like, oh, I forgot to talk about that. And that's like a regular, and that's how I learn. Like seriously, like that happens every broadcast. But I think today, I think we covered a lot of ground, and there's definitely a lot to be able to just kind of sit with. And again, you know, for the people who are tuned into this broadcast, please let us know. Has this in some way inspired you, you know, and again, just being able to lead within our own life, and leading within our own life means being able to know ourselves, to be able to connect with our body, and to be able to reflect on the question of what do I need today. And that's the thing, right? Like leadership isn't always going to be this, okay, I have to be a leader, that means I have to create a TikTok video today, that means I have to do a live. You know, if your body, if the many emotional waters that you are treading is just kind of like, you know what, let's just take a break. You know what? Let's just play video games for the entire afternoon. You know what? Let's just go for a walk in the park. Listen to that. Because again, as much as you are being a leader, you are also being led by the wisdom of spirit, the wisdom of the heart, the wisdom of the consciousness. And you can think of this consciousness as literally like information from the future that's rippling into your present moment. And so it's basically just kind of saying, it's like, don't worry, trust. Take care of yourself, do these things first, focus where you need to, show up with intention. You still have the will. Like that's the thing. It's being able to take care of yourself, balance things, and then still being able to take action. Strike when the iron is hot. Utilize opportunities. And that's the thing, you know, even for us as creators, I think it's important for us to be able to see opportunities, and if we feel the inkling, to be able to have that confidence to be able to say, I'm going to act on that. This needs to be acted upon. I'll give you a quick example. Within our community, any of the broadcasts that we've done, the big broadcasts, for example, the August 27th, the November 11th, the December 21st one, these are big events. In all of those circumstances, a part of me could have been like, wow, that's such a great idea, but I'm not going to do it. It's okay. You know, like no one will notice. It's not going to be a big deal. Like if it doesn't happen, it's okay. You know, like if I wanted to, I could have convinced myself that that's fine. And that was like a perfect idea. But even if I had done that, a part of me within my heart would have been like, there was something I could have done there and I didn't do it. And how does that feel? And there will be moments where we will experience that, and you can call it regret. You can call it guilt, you can call it shame, whatever word resonates with you. But sometimes those observations from a gentle place can actually inspire us to take action differently the next time. So when we do miss that opportunity the first time, next time, damn right we're not going to miss it, because we know what it felt like last time. So again, I just invite each of us as creators to see those little opportunities, you know, and between now and December 21st, this is a big opportunity, and the opportunity is not going to close there. It's going to keep building up. But again, you know, with the astrological alignments and the full moons and these big dates and the things that bring people's attention together and conversations that are arising and news that is having people's collective attentions, all of those are all little opportunities right there. And so again, you know, as leaders, the wisdom and the whispers of spirit will say like, hey, here's an opportunity. That will come through us, but it will still be up to us to be able to follow through with action. We're still going to be the ones that have to get in there and click the buttons and get on camera to show up in all the many, many different ways that we do. And so again, that's where as community, being able to support each other and being able to have the confidence in doing that is so important, you know? Like not just being leaders, but being leaders that are intentionally developing confidence. And what is confidence? Confidence is familiarity. Confidence is bravery. Confidence is trust. Confidence is vulnerability, you know? So confidence isn't always going to be this thing where it's like, I'm confident because I'm strong, you know? Like sometimes it's like, I'm confident because I'm vulnerable, you know, and I'm trusting in this process. So again, this is where the heart-centered wisdom and the heart-centered leadership is very, very important. So for all of us here, let's go back to that question. What is needed right now? How do we serve each other? How do we serve ourselves? How do we serve the community? What's the next step? And when we can focus on that, really feel those visions. What are the ways that I can maybe create something for a community? What are the ways that I can maybe, you know, like hold space for my friends and my family? And that's the thing. You will be called to where you need to. Do not worry about comparing your leadership to somebody else's leadership. Your leadership will look different. It can be inspired by someone else's leadership, but do not think that just because somebody's doing a big live broadcast that means that that's what's expected of you. But it is something that you could work towards, and it is something that you can build up the confidence towards. And sometimes being able to just see somebody else do it, and maybe even just myself being here and holding space, and again, reminding you of your potential, reminding you that yes, you can, and yes, you can learn, and yes, you can fail forwards, and yes, you can get better. It's like a video game. If you invest into a skill, you will develop it. So being a leader means investing in opportunities that are outside of our comfort zone, investing in challenges, investing in things that we've never done before. And then being able to build that confidence, get more familiar, and then being able to surround ourselves and have that intention and have that vision and bring people together in an incredibly powerful way, and surround yourself with a supportive community that's going to be able to say, yes, let's keep doing more of this. And then you continue to keep doing more of that. So I'm super, super honored just for being able to have these opportunities here as a community. And kind of with what we were just saying a second ago, I believe it was Z, where, you know, sometimes, or no, it was David. Z said some great stuff too, but, you know, sometimes as conscious creators, as leaders, as individuals, we can get very kind of like in our situations. Very much so, you know, it's kind of like it's like you're watching a movie so much that you become it, sort of thing. But every now and then we need to just be able to step back, see the bigger picture, remind ourselves of what we are, remind ourselves that we're soul, remind ourselves that we're spirit, remind ourselves that we are consciousness doing what it can to help wake ourselves up, and we've gotten this far and we will continue to go further, and the support of the community will continue to go further. What's that great quote? The idea that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. You know, it's like ducks fly together. Quack, 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 quack. Sorry, it's Mighty Ducks movie there. Honestly, if you look at a movie like that, like, you know, like look at the movie Mighty Ducks, why did that hype you up? Because it's like these players, the misfits, which is us, we're the misfits, if that wasn't obvious, coming together and becoming leaders, and becoming leaders amongst leaders, captains amongst captains, light guardians amongst light guardians, equals. Victory is a shared success. As the water rises, so does every ship. And as we do this, more and more people are seeing it, they're being inspired by it, and they're finding their way back to their hearts. And so again, as leaders, it's almost as if we're helping people cross a river. We're helping lead people to a shoreline, but once they're there, they walk the path themselves. You know, we can lead them to a certain point, but they must open the door as well. And you give them that gift. You give them the gift of being able to say, yes, this is for you. I'll show you the way, but it's still your way. I'll point you in the direction, but you still will walk it, and you will lead that path, and you will tread that path. And 7 generations ahead and 7 generations back. And one of the things that I said even way back when I started Paradigm Shift was this very simple phrase: stand for tomorrow today. And I think if we just really just kind of take a moment to just be able to be like, okay, yeah, that's what we're doing here. We are literally helping shift paradigms and create a future. And it's bigger than we even know. And it's a super powerful story. And each and every single one of us is a hero within that story, is a superhero. Again, you know, that's why I'm here. Every single broadcast that I do, sometimes it sounds like the same thing repeated in different ways, but I'm literally creating the space, amongst many other reasons, to be able to help people see the superhero within them, to help them see the light guardian within them. And based on, again, you guys tell me, has that worked? Have I done this? Like, is it working? And has my presence some way impacted you? Knowing that you will impact someone else. and that you will impact someone else, and it continues further and further and further. So if there's things that I've said that have inspired you, please reiterate it in ways that are coming from your heart. It's not me saying it, it's consciousness saying it. It's wisdom of the universe. It's love. This is literally love speaking right now in the form of Brendon. And I think if we just take that moment to think about that, we remind ourselves that you're that love too, that you are love coming through in the form of Zentia, of Z, of Kelly, of David, of all the other speakers here on tonight's broadcast. And you remind people of that. There's so much wisdom coming to the surface. And again, it's needed right now. People need to be able to know that there is more, that there is a rabbit hole for them to adventure down, that there is something bigger for them to be a part of. And I don't fully know exactly what all the details will be, but I know that we're exactly where we need to be in order to get to where we are going. And that for me is all we need. That's all we need. And then we take it one step at a time. So anyways, guys, you know me. I'm just here to hype you up and to build the team and to lead us into the battles of the future. Would you guys do that? Would you guys like follow me into battle if this was like a past life and we were like soldiers on some sort of front line or something? Like that's like something in me. Like I feel it and stuff like that. But again, each one of us, I'll just say this, the vision that I have, again, you know, like I may be kind of like conducting things in some way within our team. I see us kind of from this perspective similar to military, and I apologize if military is a triggering concept, but more so the way it's organized. When you look at the idea that there is kind of like, you know, officers who operate things from a higher top-down level, but then on the other levels, you have commanders who are leaders of their own squadrons. And each squadron is focusing somewhere differently to accomplish different special tasks towards a common objective. And so our common objective is shifting consciousness, period. Everything else is just kind of ripples beyond that. And then each and every single one of you are commanders of your own squadron. And for me to just be able to, like, you know, see that and honor that and encourage that. Yes, go out there, create your own communities, create your own portals, bring people together. And then for us to be able to kind of use the space of paradigm shift to just be able to bring the squadrons together and be able to check in every now and then. And then we go back out into the field and then we come back. This is just me doing something that for me, it's just like, this makes sense because this works. This is what's needed. This is what's proving results, and it's moving the story forward. And what a beautiful, beautiful story it is. The story of us building a team of light guardians, of real world superheroes, and inviting other people to be able to see themselves within them. Anyways, I think I've babbled on. What am I saying right now? I'm babbling on. Look, it's a skull. It's me. It's babbling on. Cute little crystal skull there. But anyways, I've said enough for now. And I'll let you guys just finish it off with any gratitude to be able to close off the circle, any other wisdom and insight that you feel called to share. And thank you again, everyone, for listening, for receiving this information. And again, by you listening to this broadcast in the future, you carry this energy with you and you ripple it out. So carry this shift with you. So we'll pass it around, then we'll go into a little bit of a closing meditation. Is Z crying? Did I make Z cry there? Did that almost happen? Mission accomplished. I made Z cry. So no, like seriously though, like, oh, I was just gonna say, you know, when we speak truth in a very powerful way, it usually makes us cry, and that's happened to me a lot of times. Like I was kind of feeling myself welling up there because I was listening to myself as I was saying that, and I know that very particular phrase where I was literally just like, this is love speaking through us. Like just honestly, like something about it, just like I forgot. Like, did I forget that? Like that's so powerful. So. Tell ourselves that every day. Z, go ahead. I'll pass it over to you if you'd like.
No, it's crazy because that was the sentiment. You were like, I am love in Brendon's form. And I was just like, oh, I even messaged my co-founder. I was like, I literally wrote, I am love in Brendon's form right now. So intense. He goes, what? And I was like, wait, no. Because I didn't give context. I was like, we are all a form of love. He goes, oh, indeed, yes! Exclamation point. but yeah, that I love that you knew, like you were tuned into yourself, and that is also what was impacting me too. And it's just this shit doesn't get it. This is just like nonstop magic, honestly.
That's what it is. Yeah, that's cool. A little magic portal. So no, you're wizards too. That's the other thing. So it is magic. So our love is magic. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, Z, if there's any gratitude you want to share, or you just want to take a second, we can pass it around and get back to you. But Z, thank you again, and thank you for just being an echo of, again, something that I think a lot of us are feeling as well. So yeah, it's beautiful. All right. I love you guys. Really, I love you guys. You know, just imagine us. It's just like souls, and just be like, here's the plan. We're going to incarnate on Earth. We're going to spread ourselves out millions of miles apart, but then we're going to find each other through this weird app called TikTok. TikTok? What's a TikTok? Is that like a talking clock? What is that? I don't understand. And then it's just like, no, it's a social media app, and you're going to create viral videos, and Kelly's going to be talking about aliens and fifth dimensions, and Z's going to create an app, and Zentia's got this pineapple thing going on, and it's going to be perfect. It's going to be fun. Don't worry, it'll work out. And then we're like, okay. And here we are. Okay. Anyways, Zentia, Kelly, did you guys want to just be able to close off some gratitude? And Z, we'll pass it back to you before you officially close it off. So Zentia, did you, or Kelly, Zentia and then Kelly. I'll pass over to Zentia and then Kelly. Go ahead, Zentia.
Closing, I just want to say, as conscious creators, to never forget that because you are conscious, there's an infinite amount of tools for you to help create and help get the messages out. Ancient wisdom, the depth is insane. The galaxy is insane. So for you, as a conscious creator, there's literally no way to run out of content. It's the way you put it out. Inspiration, you can have a block, but content, no. If you need a tool, come here, look around, Google it, maybe hug a tree. You might find a tool in a hug with a tree you don't know. You're forging your own path. So follow that intuition to your inner tools, but also be very open to accepting the tools that are on the outside of you that can help you flourish to be that strong creator and connected creator that can spread this awesome light within and connect all the lights together at one point, hopefully, right? Peace and pineapples, guys.
Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you, Zentia. Absolutely. Yeah. And again, yes, we're talking about conscious leadership, conscious leaders, reminding people of the leaders, but again, reminding people that they are conscious creators. And when we say conscious creator, we don't just mean, you have to have a TikTok and an Instagram account. If you are here, you're on this earth plane, you are a conscious creator, and how you create is how you lead. So what are you creating, Kelly, I'll pass it over to you. Go ahead, Kelly.
I am just grateful to be able to have this experience with all of you guys. And, it's been such a quick year, this 2020 year, and I've gotten to experience pretty much all of it with you guys. So thank you for all the support that we've given to one another. I'm thankful for that this year, because it's just been such a transformation. So I'm grateful for transformation and these budding friendships that we are making with one another, as well as everyone who's listening in right now. I really do appreciate it. And I'm just so thankful to be able to be a part of, something that is so much bigger than ourselves, but also at the same time, it is part of ourselves. So it's great. Thank you.
Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you, Kelly, so much. Z, anything else just before we get into meditation, closing gratitude, if you'd like to just share from your heart?
Oh, wow. This is interesting that being told to share from your heart is still something novel.
You can share it from anywhere. I don't care. That's fine.
No, but I love it. It
share
made
from your
me
heart.
shift. I just felt it. I was gonna talk and I was like, oh.
Right, because that's like an intention, and be like, okay, I'm gonna share from my head, but it's like to share from your heart. That takes one more breath, So maybe that's all you need, just one more breath.
My heart started racing. It's like, it's there. I'm really grateful that I found this community, like I know a lot of you are, and I've said this a million times to Brendon, but after searching through thousands of people, and for this topic today of being able to vibe on conscious leadership, and that is such a growing, definition for me, and to have alignment with people like yourselves is so important as I venture out into the world, as we all do. So thank you again for doing this. I love trying to stay towards the end of these calls with you guys ever since I've started, because it's crazy. Like, what else would I want to be doing if not connecting with these type of people in particular? Like, you guys are the people that inspire me and who I want to empower and give a tool to and create something for. Like, and it's just, and I'm thankful that you guys inspired me to want to do that, if that makes sense. Like consciousness, and then people who are channeling consciousness. Like, I feel so blessed for that. Thank you.
It's really beautiful. Thank you, Z. And yeah, I'm just so grateful for the space that we're creating here together, and it means so much to know that it means so much to each of you. That in itself is just incredibly powerful, because again, that's a big part of it, is like we're nurturing something inside of us. This is water for our heart, and this is charging up like a spiritual energy that for many of us is going to feel in many different ways. But I hope it literally inspires us, in the sense of, you think of the word inspire, you can imagine it as a spire, a pillar, like a pillar of light, like a lightsaber. It's activating our inner lightsaber, and we become this beacon, so let us continue to inspire each other in that context. And just reminding each and every single one of us that we are leaders within our birthright, and being able to hold space and see each other and honor that, and see the potential in each other even when we don't see it ourselves, and to be the light when we don't see it, and to lead with ferocity and gentleness and whatever is needed in those contexts, and being able to take care of ourselves and showing up for our friends and our families and our loved ones in the ways we can. And just being very gentle with this process, and trusting that, like I said, we're exactly where we need to be in order to get to where we're going. So the future is ahead of us. Let us look back only to see how far we have come, and let us continue to move forward with that intention. So beautiful. All right, team, let's move into a little bit of a closing meditation, then we're going to wrap up this broadcast here. Was this a 4-hour broadcast? I think it was. Every single time I'm like, it's going to be a 3-hour broadcast. No, it's not, Brendon. It's never a 3-hour broadcast. Sometimes it might be, but not today. So anyways, beautiful. All right. Thank you again, everyone, so much for joining in. So we're just going to close off here with a little bit of a meditation to close off the circle, to close off the ceremony, and we'll just get ourselves nice and ready for that. So if everybody here's getting themselves nice and comfortable, and we'll just this will be a very quick, simple meditation. So you can even just turn off any lights, step away from the YouTube chat if you want. Beautiful. Excuse me. All right. Go ahead and get yourself nice and comfortable. You can sit up if you prefer to lie down. You're welcome to at this point. When you're ready, gently go ahead and close your eyes. Just gently begin to bring awareness to your breath. And even in this moment, just feel the rhythm of your breath as it naturally leads you into the next moment. The breath will guide you through any and everything. And so as you gently breathe here, soft, gentle inhales and soft, gentle exhales, may you breathe in each new breath, just filling you up with whatever you need in this moment. Tenderness, courage, inspiration, community, connection. And gently just straighten up your posture, open your chest, relax your face if you choose. And from here, we'll just take a moment to be able to put our hands on our chest and really just drop into the space of gratitude. Gratitude for ourselves, for showing up, for receiving this wisdom, for carrying it with us, for embodying it, for enacting it, for being a beacon for it out into this world. Sacred mirror. And in this moment, we'll just imagine all of us in this sacred circle, and you can just see all of us in the circle is getting bigger each and every time. And just seeing all these beautiful faces, and really just as if you're right there with them physically, just smiling and adding a gentle smile to your face right now, and just speaking within your heart, and maybe even just speaking words physically out loud. You literally could, and you can just say to them, thank you. I see you. I love you. I honor you. I'm excited. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for us. And so just take this moment here to be able to just express any heartfelt gratitude and love to all the members of this community in this moment, those tuning in even in the future. Just take a moment here to just be able to be in your heart and just feel this love, feel this oneness, feel this gratitude, and also for you to be able to receive this gratitude being sent to you right now. As you are sending gratitude out, others are sending it to you. So just feel that right now. Just take a few moments here within your own breath, and then we'll move into the next part. So just go ahead and do this now. Let's take one more moment here. Really just feel that connection. It's one of our superpowers. We're getting better at meditation, and we're getting more familiar with that feeling. And we can tap into that, tap into it at any moment throughout the day. It's one breath away if you choose. So in this moment, let's just all imagine all of us just standing up, and we're just going to do a big group hug here. So you can just imagine everybody coming together in this beautiful hug, and you can feel the warmth and the love, and maybe you're somewhere in the middle or somewhere on the side. And gently here, you can physically just slowly wrap your arms around you. Just give yourself a gentle hug right now. And then just add a little bit of a sway to your body. Just a little bit of a sway left and right, back and forth. And this sway just reflects the natural sway that would occur if we were physically in a group hug right now. If you've ever been in a group hug, it's very magical. You'll find that there's like this natural rhythm that arises when we gather. And so you can just feel this gentle swaying of the hug, and it's very nurturing for you, almost like being rocked like a baby, just being rocked by the love of the universe right now in our form. And so just take another moment here, just within your own silence, and really just feel this love. What does it feel like, if you want to be able to put a word on it, and really just be in this space of gratitude for a few more moments. So just go ahead and just be in this love. Literally, be in this love, be in this vibration of love. In the same way you would like get into a pool of water, you can be in this love. So let's be in this love together. So just be here just for a few more moments. Just feeling that loving support and that kindness, not just the kindness of the community, but literally the kindness of the universe. Loves you so much right now and is so proud, so excited. And so gently from here, let's just take one more moment. Is there one phrase that you want to be able to express to people within your heart? A phrase of gratitude for the team, a phrase of inspiration and support? What's one phrase that comes through in your heart right now, perhaps related to the themes of tonight's discussion? Just take one more moment here. Don't think about it too hard, but what phrase comes through right now as you connect here with community? Beautiful. Squeeze yourself just a little bit harder. And when you're ready, gently you can release your arms, relax, continue to breathe here. And you can imagine all of us just kind of releasing from this group hug. And we'll just take one more moment here where you can walk around and say hello to all the amazing members of our community. And you can just thank them, say hello to some of the creators who are on air tonight. And you can share some hugs with them. As always, you're welcome to come up to me, and I thank you for being here. And I tell you how proud I am of you and how excited I am for what it is that we're creating together. And so from here, just allowing this space to be able to exist within your heart. We are connected in this space in all ways at all time. And so gently from here, holding this energy, holding this love, holding this gratitude within our hearts, excuse me, we'll slowly continue to carry this energy with us beyond this moment, into our rest of the day, into our sleep, into our dreams, into our art, into our motivation, into our personal work, into our communities, to all it is that we bring out into the world. So may the courage and the love and the compassion and the creativity of the team be yours. It is already within you. It is the collective. And slowly from here, just gently bringing awareness back to your physical body with gratitude in your heart, an inspired mind, and an open heart. Slowly, when you're ready, gently wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, and gently open your eyes and return your awareness to the space around you. Beautiful. Awesome. Welcome back. Thank you again, everyone, for being here. The phrase that came through for me in that moment was, your light leads the way. Very simple, very powerful. Something to be reminded of. Your light leads the way. So let us lead with our light. Let us lead with our love, as I said right at the beginning of the broadcast, and reminding each and every single one of us in all of this discussion to simplify it. Where are we leading people to? What does it mean? We are leading each other back to the wisdom of our own heart. And just ask yourself, tomorrow, the day after that, what does that look like? How can I do that? How can I do that in the little ways? How can I do that in the big ways as well? It is within each and every single one of us, and it is the universe is calling us to lead people back to the wisdom of our own heart. So go connect with nature, listen to inspirational podcasts, practice expressing your creativity, take care of yourself, do meditation, get out there, connect with others, surround yourself with beautiful community, and yeah, one breath at a time. You're doing great. So with that said, we're going to wrap this up in the next minute. I'll just take one more option here to, if anybody else, was there anything else you guys just want to be able to share? Bonus gratitude. If there was a phrase that came through for you in that moment that you guys wanted to be able to share, you're welcome to do that. Even for those of you in the YouTube chat, if there's anything you want to share. Cool. All right. You guys are okay? You guys feel complete, feel satisfied, feel full of love? Beautiful. That is the purpose. So awesome. So yes, may this broadcast fill your heart with so much love as you continue to bring this energy with you out into the world. So for every single person, if you listen to this broadcast, congratulations, you have just leveled up. You have just received something that will continue to support you further on your journey and continue to nurture the seed of the leader and the light guardian within you as you continue to become who you are here to be. And it's already there. It's already there. The tree is in the seed, as is inside of you. Your potential is already inside of you. So as I see it, I invite you to be able to see it and to nurture it and to honor it. Beautiful. Kaleidoscopic shared in the chat, the answers you seek lie within. Beautiful, beautiful. Morphic says, no matter how far we wander, we will always return back here, for this is a home of ours. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Morphic, as well. And if there are any others there that I missed, I apologize, but beautiful. Awesome. All right, team. So just finishing off with some closing notes. Again, if you want to be able to connect further with the team, if you haven't already yet, we have a Discord server. You're welcome to connect to that. Within the Discord server, if you'd like to get involved further with the community, that's where you can join on the Patreon to be able to get involved as a leading member. That's $11 monthly contribution as a sliding scale. So it's worth way more than that, but we keep it affordable for creators. Even if you're not interested in joining as a leading member, but if you're just like, hey, I really like what this community is about and you want to support it, you're welcome to sign up for the Patreon that way. Check out the item shop to be able to check out things like the Light Guardian crystals if you want to be able to help support that way, but also be able to check out the other items that other creators have available, which are in the market section of our Discord chat as well. There's so much more to be able to happen here through the community. We also have, like I said, our next team podcast on December 17th about spiritual wisdom of alien disclosure, and then a special broadcast on Monday, December 21st, 9 p.m. EST, 6 p.m. EST, envisioning New Earth 2021 community panel global meditation. So that's going to be another one of our big ones. So stay tuned for that. You'll see some promotions. You guys are welcome to be able to help share and let people know about that. And let's make this one as big as possible. It's going to be huge. And yeah, everything that we've been doing has been getting ready for this, and let us continue to move forward. And it's a very, very exciting future that we are moving into. And it calls forth the best of us, and it is inside of us. And let us answer that call. So beautiful. Be sure to connect to all the links for all the creators that you've heard on this broadcast in the YouTube info. If you're listening on Spotify, click the YouTube info there to be able to jump over. You can also find them through the Discord server. And yeah, stay tuned for more future broadcasts. And thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of this discussion, for being a part of this community. And reminder, team meditations Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're watching this Thursday night, then you're welcome to join in for our Friday team meditation, which I'll be leading there, which will be our Light Guardian Global Meditation as well. And let me just take one more moment here to be able to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. But yeah, Discord link, Patreon, item shop, social links, all of that's in the YouTube info. And thank you again, everyone. Mission accomplished. That was a beautiful, beautiful broadcast, and I'm always so honored by the wisdom that we bring forth here together. So thank you again, everyone, for holding that space and for showing up together as a team of conscious leaders. So may we continue to inspire the conscious leader within each and every single one of us. So shifters, light guardians, unite. We're changing the world. This is it. This is the revolution. Yeah. Really, it is. Honestly, straight up. Beautiful. All right, team, fellow leading members on air, gently just going to be able to invite you guys to join me in saying farewell, good evening, and until next time, to all the amazing shifters out there, thank you for being a part of this story, and thank you for being who you are, shining your light, and doing all that you do. So, fellow conscious creators, go ahead and join me in gently unmuting your microphones, and we'll say goodnight to everybody tuned in. So, good night, everyone. We love you. We love you guys. Thanks for joining in. Keep saying goodnight. I forgot to pull up the microphones. Go ahead, say goodnight. Good night. Good night. We love you guys. We love you guys. Go kick some butt. Shifters unite. We love you guys. All right. Thank you again. Much love. Keep it shifty, and we will see you in the future. Special thank you to Danny Leonardo, whose music is featured at the beginning and end of this podcast. Be sure to check out more of Danny's work in the YouTube info below. Thank you, Danny. Welcome to the future.